Holly Bobo vanished April 13th, 2011, found dead in 2014. In 2017, a guy named Jason Autry gave devastating testimony against a man named Zach Adams, saying that Adams shot her under the bridge. The jury convicted in hours. Now Autry says he made it all up. And you know what? Now we're watching the trial. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to Defense Diaries. I'm your host, Bob Mata, and this is our continuing coverage of the Zach Adams trial circa 2017. It is part 6. We are getting deep into it at this point. And surprise, I gave you guys zero warning. I just had to set this thing. Got a lot of wheels in motion. Things have changed. The weather in Arkansas, we're no longer flying. Now we're driving. So I'm in panic mode. I'd give my cold open like a C because I had the one flub when I was trying to look at other shit to get it ready. Whatever. The whole thing's just a lot. Allie, I think, just got back from court. So hopefully she's going to jump on. We'll see. I make no promises. But hopefully you guys are keeping up to date on this trial. It is a must-watch trial because a grave injustice has taken place in our country once again, as I believe firmly that Zach Adams sits in prison as a innocent man. And we had covered the post-conviction full evidentiary hearing. I think we missed the first maybe 3 dates, potentially 4, or at least I think there might have been 2, maybe 4 dates. So we came in on the back end. I still want to go back and watch the beginning, but I felt that it was imperative to watch this trial. And I want all eyes on this because we're going to be obviously having to take a break when we're going to be doing our Spencer coverage down there, as long as the trial doesn't get delayed because of the snow, which sounds like it might be a thing. I was talking to my aunt down there. She's like, oh my God, everybody's, they moved down from Chicago. So, she's like, everything is like, everyone's in panic mode. The store shelves are cleared. It's like 2 inches of snow. You're trapped in your house because they don't know how to clean the road. So who knows? Who knows? We're driving down tomorrow. We're heading down tomorrow, and which means that we will be there in town for the hearing on the 23rd, which was something Allie was adamant about, and she got me on board with that. I think there could be some fireworks there. We'll see how that thing goes, and we'll probably get a lot of intel in terms of whether or not the trial is going to start on time or if they're going to have to pull. There she went. Did you guys see her? Did you see her sneak by? She snuck by. Just like, oh, shoot, snuck right by us. So, all right, let's get to it. Yesterday, we had a couple of witnesses. I think they were the Cleenies. I don't think they brought anything to the table. They were more speculators talking about at some point in time, maybe days, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years prior, they saw a guy in a white pickup truck that was just sitting there that she thought was strange. And now they've somehow made that connected in their minds, and they're trying to make it connected in the minds of the jurors to this case, which is clearly absurd.
But they do it because he gets convicted.
They do it. He gets convicted because of Autry's testimony. There's no doubt about it. Like, all the rest of this is time filling shit. Like that. Those are the kind of witnesses that you see when the state doesn't have any good evidence. They just put on hot garbage, which those two witnesses are. So I am anxious to see who they're going to be calling. Now, I make no promises how long we're going to go today. As I said, Allie and I have a lot of moving parts. We've got to get ready to leave tomorrow. We're going to try to start the drive earlier rather than later. So, because it's about a 10-hour drive. I don't think we're going to have any weather tomorrow. I'm trying to beat the weather. So that is, here's an update. They're already closing schools and businesses in my area on Friday. Are you down in Arkansas? Dusty, I wouldn't be surprised if the court's closed too. We aren't cut out for snow or ice. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously got a lot of people down in Arkansas that are telling me the identical thing that you're saying to me, which really, in United, I got the text this morning. Like, as soon as I opened my eyes, United's there. Well, you have a flight on Friday, and we just want to warn you it's probably going to be delayed or canceled. So I'm like, all right, whenever they start doing that shit, like, they're forewarning me, and they're, saying we're giving you the ability to change your flight for free, all that stuff. And we're like, you know what? Let's just rent a car and drive it, pack it up. It's better. We could bring all of our shit. It's just a better scenario. Like, Allie doesn't have to worry about trying to cram everything in one bag. She can bring as much shit as she wants. And we can bring all of our lighting and all of it. So we think it's a better situation. And it's not too, I could do 10 hours on my head. So I'm good with it.
Sleeping bags for the line.
So here's a prediction. Innocence investigation says we will be shut down for a week minimum if it's as bad as they say it is. LOL. I mean, I laugh, but I mean, that's what I've heard, that when you all get some snow down there, it's like catastrophic. And it's supposed to be ice too. I heard about some 3 inches of ice that, people will be dying, grids will be shut down. And it's like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into here, but we're here for it. It's an adventure. They can't stop us now. And hey, listen, man.
I need to do some stuff.
Hey,
I need you to turn off your camera.
Listen, man. She just walked in the door and she's already she's directing from the side. She's like the director at this point. All right, I'm pulling it up. I like to chat a little bit, let people get in. I like to let people get in because, I didn't give anybody any notice. So sometimes I have to yap in order to let people see. We only have 98 people. Thanks, babe. Now I'm going to start it. Okay. Allie said so. So we're going to do it. Right, despite the fact that nobody's in here yet. All right. No.
Like they say, please come back. Closed prior to trial as being a witness, and then we were unable to think what happened with Zachary Adams. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to strike the testimony of Tim Cleeney in that he was not disclosed prior to trial as being a witness, and then we were unable to properly prepare for his cross-examination, and also he testified to what we would characterize as 404B evidence. That's what? 404B, and we were unable to characterize that. All right, motion overruled.
Wow.
All right, let's bring the jury in. With the state that witness was not disclosed. He said he first talked with him yesterday afternoon very briefly, correct, and then maybe again this morning. So they've disclosed everything they could disclose, basically. Okay. Again, Your Honor, for the record, I move for mistrial. All right. Overruled. Oh, I'm going to go into a very brief description of Jinx material, JINX.
briefly. One of the jurors wanted to know what is a jinx witness. So here we go back to law school again, okay? Ready? And it's actually JENKS. That's based upon a Tennessee case, State of Tennessee versus Jinx. It's something lawyers cast about all the time. They're used to using it. But jinx material is essentially if someone has given a statement, made a statement, whatever, the other side is entitled to view that. Legally, it's required once that witness has given testimony, the other side's entitled to get it and review it. Usually, it is disclosed prior to coming into court to move a little quicker. I try to encourage that. So it means, and it applies equally to both sides, okay? So you might hear the state, if the defendant chooses to put on proof, they might ask for jinx material. But it's just, if that person has given a statement, the other side's entitled to examine it to make sure there's nothing prior inconsistent or something like that. So, all right, another little lesson in law. Call you next.
Rebecca Earp.
A is capitalized, Q is capitalized. What is a JINX witness? Question mark. You still need?
Yes, please.
All right, exhibit 30 what? 50 what?
61.
61. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Come up here, be seated. State your first and last name, and spell it for the court reporter.
Rebecca Earp, REBECCAEARP.
Again, as comfortable as you can, you'll be there for a minute. And so, is this a day that you've been looking forward to?
No.
Tell us who you were in relation to Zach Evans.
I was his girlfriend for 2.5 years.
His girlfriend for 2.5 years. Were you his girlfriend around the time of April 2011
Yes.
when Holly Bobo disappeared?
Yes, sir.
Describe for me your relationship with Zach Evans around that time.
Around that time, it was awful. After his grandmother passed, he got on morphine.
About when did his grandmother pass?
I don't remember.
He got on morphine?
Mhm.
Was he on any other drugs as well?
Meth.
Meth. And why did that make the relationship awful?
His temper.
Did you back then live with him or not?
Mhm.
You have to speak so everybody can
Yes, I
understand.
did live with him.
And where'd y'all live at?
At his house by his grandfather's.
He has a house other than you. Does anybody else live there at the time?
No, sir.
His grandfather's, that house close by?
Yes.
Right across the driveway.
Yes.
And who lived in his grandfather's house?
Dylan.
And did the grandfather live there too?
Yes.
And who is Dylan?
Dylan is his brother.
Did you get to know Dylan?
My man knew him, knew of him.
Knew of him?
Mhm.
So was Dylan around Zach and his friends a lot?
Off and on.
And how was Dylan treated?
Zach was pretty much bossy towards him, I guess.
Was it bossy?
Bossy.
And how were you treated back then in April of
Your Honor,
2000?
I'm going to object. We have 404B evidence I'm concerned about, and we filed a motion on that, Your Honor. Requested kind of hearing before we go into anything.
Well, maybe I could phrase the question better. I'm not asking about any specific instances of anything that happened, just the general tenor of their relationship in the preceding days. Did that make sense to you, what I just said, Rebecca?
Mhm.
I'm not asking you about anything or things that happened. I'm just asking about the days before Holly went missing. What was the relationship like? How were you being treated?
I just pretty much worked, came home, sleep, couldn't keep up with him, so I was just doing my thing.
Had you broached the idea of him of breaking up?
Yes.
Had you tried to leave him?
Yes.
Again, I'm not asking about specific incidents, but what was his attitude towards your trying to leave?
He would always talk me into coming back, and he'd be very stern or threaten me.
Stern and threatening.
Objection, Your Honor. I object to the phrase threatened.
She said stern approach or something there.
Stern.
She said,
Stern. On the road.
in fact, on the very day before Holly went missing, did you try to leave him again on that day?
I was at my mother's that day.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean physically with him or not. Did you try to leave him as boyfriend and girlfriend? Did
Yes.
you try to break up with him?
Yes.
And this would have been April the 12th of 2011.
Yes.
The time he was in morphine and meth. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Who else did he hang out with? Did you know Shane Austin?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever observe Shane Austin to be involved in meth and morphine?
Yes, sir.
Frequently or infrequently?
He was more on pills.
He was more on pills.
Yes, sir.
Do you know Jason Autry?
Yes, sir.
Do you know, you've already said Dylan Adams.
Mhm.
Were these people that would hang around Zach Adams?
Yes.
Would they come to his house?
Yes.
Would Zach go to theirs?
Yes.
Did you know where Shane lived?
Yes.
And I'm not asking you the address. Did you know what even what street he lived on?
It's by Yellow Springs Church.
A Yellow Springs Church.
Mhm.
And is that close to Zach's?
Yes, across the highway.
The highway's Interstate 40.
Mhm.
And that's Holiday, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
April the 12th, 2011.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that night, April the 12th, 2011.
He talked me into coming and staying with him.
I couldn't quite hear what you
He taught me to come stay with him that night.
He talked you to come in.
He talked me into coming to stay with him that night, so I did.
So that day, breakup.
Mm-hmm.
But that night, where were you?
His house.
Do you remember what time you arrived at his house?
No, sir. It was late though.
Late.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to his house, was he there?
Yes.
Was there anybody else with him?
Not that I remember.
Did y'all interact with each other late when you got to that house?
We talked a little bit, but then I went to bed and he stayed up.
Did he ever come to bed that night?
Not that I remember. No.
What woke you up that morning?
Zach.
And what was he doing to wake you up?
He kissed me on the forehead and he said he was going to haul off scrap.
And about what time was this?
It was anywhere from 6 to 7:30.
6 to 7 or 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
Early in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Did you stay in bed or did you get up?
I stayed in bed and slept for a little bit longer.
Do you remember what his demeanor was when he told you he was going to go sell scrap?
Yes, sir.
How was he acting?
Fine.
What do you do that morning after he leaves?
I go back to bed for about 30 minutes and then I had to get up, get ready, go to work because I had to be there at 9.
Do you get up and get ready?
Yes.
And do you go to work?
Yes.
And where's your work?
Joe's video in Parsons.
In Parsons.
Mhm.
So you go from the Holiday Sugar Tree area
Mhm.
down to Parsons.
Yes, sir.
How long does that take you? Do you know?
15 minutes.
You had a car back then?
Yes. Well, yes, sir. At that time.
What was Zach driving back then?
The white Nissan.
White Nissan?
Mhm.
Was it a car or was it a truck?
It was a truck.
Is that what he was driving that morning?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, well, let's not, if you don't remember something,
I think so.
did you see what car he got into when he went to go haul the scrap metal?
No, sir.
What we're going to talk about later. Did you see him later in the day in the car?
In his truck.
Okay, we'll get there. You get to work.
Mm-hmm.
It is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Has anything strange happened that morning?
Yes.
What's that?
Holly came up missing.
Holly came up missing.
Mhm.
And did you know Holly at all?
I knew her through Joe's video. She would come tan
'Cause
or
Joe's-
rent videos.
Yeah, because Joe's video used to, is it still up?
No.
It's closed.
Yes.
Used to not just rent videos, but there's tanning booths in there, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so you knew her from that.
Mhm.
Did you also know her cousin?
Yes.
What was her name?
Natalie Bobo.
And how did you know Natalie?
through tanning. She would come in there and tan.
How did you hear that something happened to Holly that morning?
I think it was the news.
When do you hear or see Zach Adams again that morning?
It was close to the afternoon. He come by my work.
To Parsons?
Mhm.
Close to the afternoon to Parsons.
Mhm.
And what was his demeanor? Or did you personally see him when he came back from Parsons?
Yes. We got into an argument, of course. And we was arguing because I thought he was lying about going to the scrapyard because he switched phones.
Who switched phones?
Zach.
What do you mean by switched phones?
He was using his brother's phone that he would use, which
How did-
was
how do you
Becky's,
know he was using his brother's phone?
because he takes me from it.
And that was unusual.
Yes.
And so you immediately thought he wasn't scrapping.
Yes.
And did you confront him about this?
I don't remember.
Did you have a conversation with him about this?
Not necessarily about the phone. No.
No, not about the phone, but about the fact that you didn't think he was scrapping.
Oh, yes.
And what happened?
We got into it
Where?
at Joe's video.
And what happened?
He grabbed my head.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, let's not go on specifics.
It ended disagreeing.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
When he came to see you at Joe's video, did you see the vehicle that he was in?
Yes.
What the vehicle was in?
The Nissan.
The white Nissan?
Yes, sir.
Pickup truck?
Yes, sir.
Was he with anybody or was he by himself?
I don't remember.
After this disagreeable ending, did he leave?
Yes.
Do you remember if you heard from him again that day?
No, I don't. I didn't see him till later that night, I think.
I want to ask you about particular things that happened after that day, after the day that Holly disappeared. Okay? That next day, was there an occasion that you were at Zach's house and Zach and Shane were there?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was cooking supper and the news come on and they were talking about Holly missing and Shane kind of smirked and started laughing. And Zach made the comment, said, they'll never be able to find her.
We'll never be able to find her.
Mhm.
Was there any more conversation about that at that time?
I didn't say anything. I just kept cooking.
You just kept cooking.
Mhm.
What's the next thing that you notice? What's the next thing that you notice?
What do you mean?
You describe Zach and Shane laughing and Zach saying what he did the day after the disappearance. After that, what's the next thing you notice that's suspicious or unusual that catches your attention?
Just I don't know.
Okay, let me recall you to particular things.
Uh-huh.
Did you notice any physical injuries that Zach had around that time?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
3 scratches on his neck.
Scratches on his neck?
Yeah, parallel scratches on his neck.
Yes.
Neck.
Neck.
Yes.
And had you seen those before he went scrapping?
No.
Did he have those after he went scrapping?
Yes.
You said you didn't believe that he went scrapping.
Mm-mm.
In fact, did you try to check on that?
Yes, I called.
After you called, did you still not believe he went scrapping?
I called and I asked them. I said, they said they couldn't give me any information.
Okay, so I'm not asking you what they said.
Oh.
Okay, but listen to me. After you made that call, okay,
Mhm.
were you still suspicious that he didn't go scrapping?
Yes.
Did you ask Zach about these scratches he had on him?
No.
Did you follow the news the day, the next day about Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
Were you familiar with the roads and the area around her house?
Yes, sir.
Did you know if Zach Adams was familiar with the roads and the area around her house?
Yes, sir.
And how did you know that?
Because we rode them together.
Had you ever seen the map of where Holly's cell phone went that day?
Yes.
Did that catch your attention?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Because that's the road he took all the time.
How long did you live in that house with him after she was taken
Till July,
till July?
3 months.
3 months in that house.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever notice anything strange physically about the house?
No.
Did you ever strike that? Let's go to July.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I'm not asking you about a particular incident. Okay.
Okay.
When you finally left in July,
Yes, sir.
was that under unpleasant circumstances?
Yes.
During the course of those circumstances, did you and Zach argue,
Yes.
fight?
Yes.
Were you trying to get away from him?
Yes.
Did he make any statements to you at that time about Holly?
I'm going to object if he's trying to get into 404B evidence.
Well, I'm asking for statements. You make any
Well,
statements?
Even if it's statements, Your Honor, if it's not relevant to this, then I object to that coming in.
This is about this. I asked for
Maybe a problem.
statements about Holly.
Your question's overruled, passed.
Did he make any statements to you about Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say?
He said he would tie me up just like he did Holly Bobo and nobody would ever see me again.
Wow.
Did he tie you up like Holly Bobo and nobody ever see you?
Yes, sir.
What the fuck?
July was your last month in that house
Yes, sir.
at Adams Lane.
Yes, sir. We talked and associated after that. Yes.
You talked and associated after that, though. What was your life then, Rebecca?
Do what, sir?
How was your life then, Rebecca?
Awful.
Your Honor, I object to the relevance of this.
Overruled.
Are you doing better now?
Yes.
But after July, you were still talking to him.
hmm
Was there an occasion after July in which you heard him make any statements about Holly Bobo?
Do what now?
It was kind of general. After July,
Uh-huh.
when you were still talking to him,
hmm
you're still
I mean, I would still go over there and stay the night and stuff.
seeing him,
hmm
sometimes staying the night.
hmm
And if the witness is instructed to actually verbalize the answer,
I think she is, but make sure you answer the court reporter taking down what you say.
Okay.
I'll try to help you. If you nod your head, I'll try to.
Okay.
There you go. Did you ever overhear a conversation that Zach had with another person having to do with Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
It was at John Mitchell's house.
And who's, just generally, who is John Mitchell?
It's one of his friends.
His friend named Zach.
Yes.
What'd you hear?
That everything was ready to go in the back of the truck to be put up under the Birdsong Bridge.
To be put up under the Birdsong Bridge.
Mhm.
And they say what this was. It was going to be put up.
They said it was the remains of Holly. But when they found out that I found out about it, they said that it was remnants of making meth is what they got rid of.
So let me just back up so I understand. Do John Mitchell and Zach know that you're there?
Yes.
Zach says something about, tell me again, I don't want to miss. What does Zach say?
Zach said that everything was in the truck ready to go.
Everything's in the trunk of the truck.
Truck.
Everything in the truck ready to go to do what?
Take that Tupperware, it was a blue Tupperware thing, to Birdsong.
the bridge.
Mhm.
And you know where that area is, don't you?
Mhm.
And that it was, who said something about the remains of Holly Bobo?
I can't remember.
Was it either Zach or Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir.
And then you said something about actually what it was methamphetamines.
Yes.
And how did you figure that out?
Because later on they told me that it was just a joke just to see if I would call the TBI.
They told you it was a joke to see if you would call.
John told me
police?
yes.
You were able to get away,
Yes.
to get out of this.
Yes.
He never tied you up and did you like Holly Bobo?
No.
And you're doing better now.
Yes, sir. Way better.
What's that?
I said a lot better. I have a son now.
Just a few more things I just want to ask you about.
Okay.
Okay. You said you know Natalie Bobo. Do
Yes.
you know whether or not Zach Adams knew Natalie Bobo?
Yes, I introduced him.
Back then, did Zach have Facebook?
Yes.
Is that something that he would use?
Yes.
Is that something he would use sometimes to communicate with you?
Yes.
Is that something he'd use to communicate sometimes with other people?
Yes.
Did I ask you to review a large stack of papers?
Yes.
What was that large stack of papers I asked you to review?
It was pictures of us together at a bar, comments, just posts.
Was
Yeah.
it Zach's?
Yes, it was
Facebook?
his Facebook.
And had you seen his Facebook before?
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
Had you seen him using his Facebook before?
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
Did he let other people use his Facebook?
No.
Was that his?
Mhm.
And the various pictures that you saw on Facebook that you just told us about. Were those pictures things that actually happened
Yes.
in your life and in his life?
Yes.
So what I showed you was his Facebook.
Yes, sir.
I just want you to look at the top paper from that approach. Is this the Facebook records that I showed you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And I'm not seeking to introduce these. This is years and years of Facebook records. I think they should be marked with identification. Later on, a very, very small portion will be introduced with other
All right,
records.
the exhibit 62 for ID purposes.
My approach witness again, Your Honor.
You know,
Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Is that Zach Adams?
Yes, sir.
Is that his Facebook profile?
Yes, sir.
No, I would have that picture marked.
the exhibit 63.
My approach witness again, Your Honor.
No.
Do you recognize that picture?
Yes, sir.
What's that picture of?
One of the first times he took me up under the bridge.
He had taken you to that spot before, hadn't he? Up under the bridge,
Yes, sir.
near Birdsong.
Yes, sir.
And what did y'all do there? What's that picture of?
It's a picture of spray painting Rebecca Lovesack.
Up under that bridge
Yes, sir.
at Birdsong.
Yes, sir.
I have that marked in the imagery.
Exhibit 4.
I publish it.
Good night.
I'm really bad at this. This is exhibit 64. Did you and Zach spray paint that together?
No, it's just me.
That's where he took it.
Yes.
Exhibit 63. That's his Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
Oh boy. I mean, she's a damaging witness in front of a jury. You know, because we're looking back at this, and you know, if we're watching this in real time, pretend like we don't know everything we know now. And pretend like we're watching this trial back in 2017. And we're all just sitting here. I'd like to compare what the text or the chat would look like then to what it looks like now in terms of her credibility without knowing everything that we know now. You know, because when you're trying to sit here and think of all the ways that he got convicted with no evidence against him, you know, you're starting to see it. Like, she's been the first witness to me that's been damaging, and not necessarily because I believe a damn word she's saying, but I know enough about juries and how they operate to know that they find her to be compelling. You know, they're not sitting there thinking that the state put the squeeze on her. They're sitting there listening to a girl who dated him for a couple of years. Thankfully, they were able to keep out the headbutt in the parking lot at Joe's, you know, but the scratches on the neck, damaging. You know, the shit that she's alleging that he says, damaging. You know, and this is where Thompson's got to come in on cross. You know, but how much can she do with that stuff? You know, it seems to me that if Zach Adams had scratches on his neck, that whatever cops talked to him that day would have probably noticed that, right? I would think. Maybe not. I'm dealing with some pretty shitty cops here. But yeah, that would be something that if they're going to talk to him because he's a person of interest, you know, because they know about him because of his drug shit, and they're going to take a peek and see what they can see, that's exactly the kind of shit they're looking for. Injuries to his hands, injuries to his face, his neck, his arms, defensive injuries from Holly defending herself. And I don't remember anything about any cops saying, and I'm talking about the stuff that I've seen after the fact. You all let me know. There any cops saying they saw Zach with scratches on his neck the day of, first time they went to go talk to him? I don't remember anything like that. You know, because it's like what Thompson's going to be able to do with her is probably going to be limited. You know, with a witness like this, who's got some damaging testimony coming in, you either go hard on her or you don't. And it's pretty early in the trial. I mean, I've always regretted how I went at the dancer in Garcia. I went too hard at her. I think, you know, I forced the jury into feeling sympathetic for her, which then led to her credibility. You know, if I could do it over again, I wouldn't go at her like that. but the shit that she was saying was so damaging. And collectively as a team, we talked about it for forever on how to approach her. She did lie about my wife. So I don't know. She's a tough witness to handle on cross in terms of how you do it. And Thompson doesn't have anybody to commiserate with about how it should be handled leading into this trial. Because Thompson's not surprised about the shit that she's saying. I mean, not to the extent that we are. This kind of shit had to have been in a report somewhere, I imagine. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, though.
Can I see that license?
Oh, we're losing K Riggs. Damn it. No K Riggs, no DB, no Katie, no Dana. We're flying solo, kids.
Back in September of 2014, you were pregnant with your first child, weren't you?
Yes.
And that was after Zachary Adams had been arrested on charges in this case, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you specifically remember that Valerie Trout, a TBI agent, came to talk to you at your mother's house, don't you?
Yes.
And at that time, she threatened to take your unborn baby away from you and put it in DCS custody, didn't she?
Yes.
Matter of fact, she said that was based on whether or not you were going to be a fit person to take care of your child.
It was threatening me to say that if I told them all the truth and everything. I said I've been nothing but honest.
Right, but she specifically said that if you weren't going to tell them the truth, that they were going to
Yes.
take your unborn baby away.
Yes.
And that's not Zachary Adams' child, is it? It's
No.
another man's.
Yes.
So I want to go back and talk with you. You've given multiple statements in this case, haven't you?
Yes.
And you would agree with me, your statements have changed over time.
Yes.
So the first statement you gave was actually in April of 2011.
Yes.
Do you remember? Just early on, someone stopped by and talked to you.
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you gave absolutely no indication that Zachary Adams was involved in what had occurred.
Right.
And you even acknowledged at that time that Zach had scratches on him that he had gotten while he was being chased by an officer at the park, didn't you?
Yes.
And so then you gave your next statement in July of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this was shortly after you and Zach had broken up for your final time of living together, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you were very upset with Mr. Adams.
Yes.
And to be clear, Rebecca, just to be honest, back in the day, you were using meth also, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were using a lot of Xanax, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And you would use meth with Zach and use drugs with Zach, isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So much of the time you spent high.
At the first of it, yes.
Okay. And Zach was high also, wasn't he?
Yes.
That's one of the things that attracted you all to each other.
Yes.
And you had a very volatile relationship. It was full of very highs and lows, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. At some point you really loved him.
Yes.
And
I loved
he-
him a lot.
What?
I loved him a lot.
And he expressed to you, he loved you a lot too, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that made the relationship so volatile, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that you were so upset about the scrapping is you suspected that he might be cheating on you.
Yes.
And that had you very upset, didn't it?
Yes.
So in the July of 2011, you spoke to investigator Ricky Inman about Zach Adams.
Yes.
And at that time, you said that you and Zach had broken up you were breaking up around the time that Holly disappeared.
Yes.
And you said that morning, the night of April the 12th, you spent that night with Zach.
Yes.
And you said that the next morning he was still at home when you left for work at 9:15 a.m.
You got to understand, I was under the influence then to where I was scared. I didn't know. So, yes, my statements are going to be different.
Yeah, but you were also under the influence of drugs too, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said at that time that he was still at home that morning and you left around 9:15 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
It's just the court reporter. I understand what you're saying, but she needs to be able to write yes or no. And that you had been, so you spent that morning at Joe's Video working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, is that a yes? Sorry.
Yes. Sorry.
And Zach Adams' grandmother died on April the 1st, didn't she?
Yes.
And Zach was very close with his grandmother, wasn't he?
Very.
And so when she died, it tore him up, didn't it?
Yes.
Matter of fact, Zach's was close to his grandmother and his grandfather.
Yes.
And so after she died, he was using extra amounts of meth, wasn't he?
Yes.
And some of the morphine that he had
Yes.
gotten from her. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And so he was heavily dosing himself, wasn't he?
Yes.
And you were aware that he was arrested on April the 4th at Natchez Trace State Park.
Yes.
Matter of fact, it was his grandmother's funeral was April the 3rd.
Yes.
She had breast cancer. I mean, they expected her to die. It wasn't a surprise.
Yes.
And so her funeral was April the 3rd, and April the 4th, he just really got out of control at the state park and got arrested, didn't he?
Yes.
And at that time, his truck got impounded, didn't it?
Yes.
And Dick Adams actually owned that white truck, didn't he?
I think so.
And I think you said earlier it was a new truck, but it was a 98 Nissan pickup truck, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was a mid-size pickup. It was not a one of
Not
the
a full
giant-
size. No.
What?
It's not a full size. No.
Okay, it's not a full size. And so after Zach got arrested, his grandfather left the truck in impound for a while, didn't he?
Yes.
And then wouldn't give it back to Zach right away, wouldn't he?
Right.
And so that meant because Zach's black truck at that time, they had a black Nissan truck also, didn't they?
It's a Chevrolet truck.
That's Dylan's truck, the
No,
Chevrolet.
Dylan's was beige Chevrolet truck.
If the actual title to the truck shows that Dylan had a charcoal black or a graphite
Well,
colored
then it
truck.
might have been in Dylan's name. I don't know.
Okay,
That's that. I thought that was Zach's truck. The
The-
black one.
black one. Didn't
Mhm.
Zach have a dark green truck at some point?
Not that I remember.
Zach went through a lot of cars. Can we
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
Okay. And so at some point, Zach is then looking around for transportation, wasn't he?
Yes.
And Shane Austin did not have transportation because he had wrecked his truck, hadn't he?
Yes.
Matter of fact, Shane had also been in a motorcycle wreck, hadn't he?
Yes.
And he had also had an accident where he fell off a cooling tower.
Yes.
Matter of fact, was it the motorcycle accident that left one of his eyes kind of
Yes.
crooked?
Droopy, yes.
Droopy. So like the eyelid didn't go up right next to the eye and it kind of drooped. You could see the pink under his eye, couldn't you?
Right.
And he had some scarring on his face too, didn't he?
Yes.
And so initially, when you talked to Ricky Inman, and Ricky Inman's an investigator for the local police department,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
He's not a TBI agent.
No.
Okay. And initially, when you talked to Ricky Inman, you said that you thought Zach and his friend Victor Dinsmore were hauling scrap that day.
Yes.
And you didn't know for sure if Zach had talked with Shane Austin or not.
Right.
You said at that time that Zach, and this is just a few months later, but you said at that time Zach had never made comments to you about Holly Bobo, had never made comments about Holly before she was taken.
Because when that had happened, do what now?
He had not made comments about Holly
No.
before she was taken.
No.
Zach certainly would have liked the reward money, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was aware that there was a large reward out. In the end, how much do you remember it being?
$250,000.
$250,000. And you specifically do remember telling Ricky Inman that Shane was dependent on other people to drive him around because he didn't have a car.
Yes.
And you also did not believe that Zach had gone to the coon hunt that year.
Right.
So. And then the TBI came back, and the next time they had gotten the search warrants and been searching Zach Adams' home. And that
Yes.
was February the 28th, 2014,
Yes.
when they talked to you the next time.
Yes.
And but this time when they talked to you in July, that's after you all had broken up. It was your final breakup,
Yes.
and Zach was out of your life for a while.
Yes.
So the next time the TBI talked to you, it was 2014. So it was basically 3 years later.
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of time had passed since the events had all occurred. And
Yes.
you didn't make notes. I mean, you yourself had not written down the events of that day, had you?
No.
So you were going by your memory
Yes.
and the memories that you'd made as best you could, because at the time you were using meth and
Yes.
Xanax. And you used some other drugs too, right? Marijuana?
Marijuana.
Okay, so the next time they talked to you, it was several TBI agents that came to talk to you. Do you specifically remember Joe Walker and Joe Craig being there?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. And at that time, you knew already that Zach had been arrested for this, didn't you?
Yes.
Because they came in and told you, listen, we've got the guy, didn't they?
Yes.
I mean, they were very confident when they came to tell you that they had arrested him. They didn't say, you know, we've arrested him and we think he might be the guy, or
Right, I think we're, yeah, hearsay on hearsay in this question. I asked if she not characterize what other people say.
Well,
This is now the court statement.
right. Of course, I am not offering the fact that they said he was guilty for the truth of the matter. Let's be clear. I'm just
You can
offering it
ask
to
the
show.
question so that she can show what her
Right.
response.
Yes. So the fact that they said all this to you, I mean, you have faith in law enforcement, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you want to believe that if law enforcement does something, they know what they're doing, don't you?
Yes.
So then when they come to talk to you, they specifically said, they're asking you again about what happened. They brought with them some documents from Birdsong Auto Salvage regarding scrapping. Do you remember them bringing you documents?
No.
They brought you a list of all the people whose names were turned in. You're familiar
Okay.
with
Yes, I
Birdsong.
do remember now. Yes.
First of all, you're familiar with Birdsong Auto Salvage.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a metal scrap
Yes.
location where people can take scrap metal, turn it in for cash money.
Yes.
And back in 2011, Zach Adams made a lot of his money with scrap metaling, didn't he?
Yes.
And that's where he got some of his money to buy drugs.
Yes.
He also sometimes on and off had some odd jobs here and there, didn't he?
Yes.
At some time he had worked for Decatur County and
North 40.
North 40. Okay.
Yes.
And Zach Adams would spend a lot of time out looking for scrap metal.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Sometimes he'd get it on the up and up, and sometimes he'd just have sticky fingers and pick up scraps around. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
And so the TBI brought to you a document that showed that Zach Adams' name was not on the list of people that had scrapped metal on April the 13th,
Correct.
2014.
Correct.
But they failed to show you that Zach Adams had actually scrapped metal on April the 11th, Monday, 2011.
Okay.
If I said 2014 just a minute ago, I meant 2011.
Okay.
And they didn't tell you that he'd actually scrapped metal on Friday, April the 15th, 2011, did they?
No.
And so your memory 3 months later was that he had told you he'd gone to do scrap metal that day.
Yes.
But you didn't specifically write that down anywhere that he had gone to do scrap metal.
No.
You were going by memory in July from an event that had happened in April 13th.
Yes.
And Zach did do scrap metaling a lot back in those days, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that morning, you think that you went into work at Joe's Video at 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember 9 a.m. because you usually open the store.
Yes.
And what time did the store open?
10 o'clock.
Okay, so you would get there at 9 to get things ready?
Yes. Yes, because I had to go to the bank to do the deposit.
Okay. And so then after they showed you this list and told you that Zach had not scrapped any metal that day, that you were then angry with Zach Adams at that time, weren't you?
Yes.
Because you felt like that was confirmation that he had lied to you and was perhaps cheating on you at the time.
Yes.
And you're an emotional person, clearly. I mean, I see that you wrote Becca plus Zach, or Becca and Zach on the bridge support. You spray painted it.
Mhm.
I mean, at times when you were in love, you wanted the world to know, didn't you?
Yes.
And so, and Zach had a way with the ladies, didn't he?
Yes.
And so the fact that he might be cheating on you was not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
Okay. So you remembered in February of 2014 that you didn't get back until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock that night after having worked. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Okay. You don't have a memory of that now as to what time you got home, do you?
No.
Now you say Zach had scratches on his neck.
Yes.
And where were those? Since you're saying neck and not throat, I'm assuming you mean around in the.
They were right here on the
So-
side of his neck.
So, okay, let's see. I just want to be clear for the record. You are pointing to your left-hand side? Is that your left? Right-hand side?
Yes,
Not
right.
a left-right problem. So you're saying that the scratches would have been on his right side of his neck,
Yes, ma'am.
and they would have gone under the jawline from the
Towards the
ear
Adam's apple.
towards the Adam's apple.
Yes.
And how many scratches were there?
3.
There were 3 scratches right there.
Yes.
And how deep were those scratches?
Not very deep.
Not very deep?
Mm-mm.
Okay. At that point, did it alarm you when you say you saw those scratches?
Yes, but I never spoke of it.
So why wouldn't you speak of it?
I was scared.
Why were you scared?
I just was. Mm.
Okay, so
What?
knowing that
All right. So you're probably all sitting in front of your computer of what? Ask the question of what? You cannot ask that question because Jennifer Thompson does not know the answer. I know you want to ask it. Right. I get it. I get it. It's the number one rule. Cross-examination. Do not ask a question that you do not know the answer to. Can absolutely blow your case apart in one question. Seen it. So we'll see what she could do. We'll see if she can probe around it. Because she could say, I was afraid that, Zach just got back from killing Holly Bobo. Can't ask that question. As much as we want to know the answer. As much as I think she's full of shit. She wasn't afraid of anything. I thought Jennifer kind of got into it a little bit earlier. Scratched the surface of she constantly thought that Zach was cheating on her. That would be a natural direction to take this. But we'll see. Right. Yeah, it's confirmation bias shit.
at some point there was a reward out. There was a $250,000 reward. Did it ever occur to you to say something before he was arrested by the TBI?
I did. I have.
You have what?
I have called the TBI and informed them before.
You called the TBI before that? Oh, well, when did you call the TBI?
Well, whenever I heard about the remains,
Oh, but you heard about the remains after he was arrested.
yes.
Okay, so no, I'm talking about before he was arrested.
Okay.
When did you call and tell them about
Oh, I
scratches?
didn't.
Okay, you didn't.
No.
Okay.
anybody?
To speak with you.
Yes.
Talking to an. Do you remember specifically talking to an investigator, Danny Mulligan, from the defense team that came to speak with you?
Yes.
Danny kind of has a long ponytail.
Yes.
Now, do you remember specifically when you talked to Danny Mulligan, you told him? See, I had it up. That's computers when it's not on the paper. Do you remember telling him that the scratches on Zach's arms referenced in the report, and you say emphatically that the scratches were from a different day when Zach was running from the cops in Lexington and were not from the day that Holly Bobo disappeared?
Yes. He always had scratches on him.
Okay, so he had scratches from when he ran from the cops in Lexington too?
Yes.
Okay, so he did have those scratches?
Yeah.
She said he always had scratches on him. Lean into that. Lean into that. He always had scratches on him. Addicts have scratches on them all over the place, all the time. Track marks, depending on what they're addicted to, scratches. He always had scratch, and she just moved right by that question. Here, listen to it again.
Yes.
You acknowledge that. And he ran cops in Lexington and were not from the day that Holly Bobo disappeared?
Yes. He always had scratches on him.
Okay, so he had scratches from when he ran from the cops in Lexington too?
Yes.
Okay. So he did have those scratches?
Yes.
You acknowledge that?
Yes.
Okay. So now you're saying, yes, he had scratches from when he ran from the cops. And when we say Lexington, you're talking about the Natchez Trace incident.
Yes, ma'am.
So he did have those scratches, but now you're saying he had some additional scratches on his neck that were new, okay?
Yes.
So now you're saying he had two sets of scratches,
Mm-hmm.
at least,
Mhm.
because you say he always was getting scratches.
Yes.
Okay. Then, do you also remember telling Mr. Mulligan that you weren't sure that it was incorrect in Joe Walker's report that you had worked till 10 o'clock p.m. that night? Do you remember telling Mr. Mulligan that you had
What
not?
night?
On the night that Holly disappeared, April the 13th, 2011. Do you remember telling my investigator that part of Joe Walker's report was inaccurate?
No, I don't remember.
Is there a reason you wouldn't remember specifically what you said to our investigator?
I remember working the night before, but
Hey,
I mean, my 2-year-old was there
good
No,
looking.
no, I'm sorry.
when he was interviewing me.
That's not what I'm talking about. Let's go back because I've confused you. When Danny Mulligan came to talk to you, you specifically
Well, I'm going to catch you up to speed. Only witness we've seen thus far. This is, as you can see, Rebecca Earp. This is Zach Adams' ex-girlfriend. She was his girlfriend back in 2011. And she's been pretty damning. As I was telling the class, I'm like, look, we got to pretend like we're watching this back in 2011. You know, do we think that she would have been impactful back then? You know, she, on direct, she said that, you know, the morning of, that Zach had left early, said he was going to the scrapyard, left the house between 6:30 and 7. She claims she was still in bed. Kay Riggs, when she was here, said that she hadn't even spent the night at his house that night, and that she's confusing the days.
Yeah, I heard, I put it on and I heard part of the cross examination. Like, you're remembering in July what happened in April.
Right.
I don't know how that's like. Did she provide some reason why that stood out, or was it the Holly Bobo
Well, it was the Holly Bobo thing because, well, that's not even the thing that bothers me. But what stood out is when she claims that he gets back the day that Holly Bobo went missing, that he had scratches on the right side of his neck.
Can someone please remind me when that trooper went to the house and saw him shirtless?
That was later. That was
Okay.
like during the searching, but there were the cop went there that day. There was a cop there the day of, and that's what I was talking about. I'm like, if you're a cop that's going and taking a run at Zach because he's just a dude that you're going to take a run at when some shit like this goes down, those are the things that you're looking for specifically. Wounds, hands, face, neck, wounds. Does that person have wounds? I haven't heard anything, and I think Katie said she was going back. I haven't heard anything about any cop notating that they saw wounds on his neck the day that they went and spoke to him, the day that Holly went missing. So
Crazy.
it's crazy.
Remember, he
Hi, all.
pulled out
Wait.
these TBI reports and handed you the.
I just wanted to tell you, you've got me for 45 minutes.
Yeah. All right. We just got news. Julie's
It's Friday night.
No, Julie's appeal was denied. Julie Beverly.
Her appeal was denied.
Murder on Songbird Road, Julie Beverly. Big podcast I had with Lauren.
Yeah. No, I just forgot that her.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up like the status of different like people that you're doing things with Lauren with. So I'm with you now. Her appeal got denied.
Yeah, the one that Zellner did.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
written copies, right?
Yes, let me read them all.
He let you read them all.
Mhm.
And then you took a highlighter and you highlighted things in the report and then you marked on them. Do you remember
Yes,
that?
that wasn't true and was true.
Okay, so the part in, and I'm referring to Joe Walker's report because Joe Walker wrote up the report when he came to see you February 8th, 2014, along with Special Agent Joe Craig.
Okay.
And then Joe Walker put down, I worked until 10 o'clock p.m. that night. You told Danny Mulliken that that was an inaccuracy in Joe Walker's report.
Of what night?
Then it's April the 13th, 2011, the day Holly disappeared.
That means I would have had to work a double. So no, I don't think I would have.
Okay, so that's an inaccuracy in Joe Walker's report
I guess.
because you didn't work a double shift that day.
I don't remember. No.
Okay.
Repeat, and you highlighted it as an inaccuracy, correct?
And even after you and Zach broke up for the last time in July of 2011, you all still remained friends at
yes.
some point. Yes?
Yes.
And you occasionally would spend the night over there and hang out with him.
I don't recall ever spending the night, but going over there, yes.
I thought on direct you said you spent the night over there some.
I could have, yes.
Did you just say that a little while ago on direct when Mr. Hagerman was asking you questions?
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes you do sometimes you say things that you forget. Is that what?
No.
Okay. So you did sometimes spend the night with Zach Adams
Yes.
after you all broke up.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Do you consider yourself to be a psychic type person?
No.
Okay.
Tell me there's follow-up to that ridiculous question. Otherwise, it sounds stupid. So let's hear it.
And then you gave another statement. The next day, because 2014, well, that statement was on the 28th of February, and then you gave a statement on March the 1st, and I think 2014 was a leap year, so it would have been 2 days later. Does that sound right to you?
I guess.
And so in that statement, they actually sat down and went over some telephone numbers with you,
Yes.
and they went over your call records that day.
Yes.
Because you do recognize that the TBI went ahead and subpoenaed your telephone records from the day Holly disappeared from AT&T.
Yes.
And they went over your telephone record with you very carefully to ask you what numbers were what.
Yes.
And I think earlier I heard you testify that on the day Holly disappeared, Zach Adams called you from his brother Dylan's cell phone,
Text me. Yes.
texted you from his brother Dylan's cell phone.
Yes.
But would you be surprised to know that Dylan's cell phone records do not show that a text call was made to you from his phone?
He also had this spoofing card that he could make it come up any number.
Okay, but what the spoofing card did was make caller ID look like any number.
Mhm.
You would agree with me the way the spoofing card worked, because you heard him use it. He
Mhm.
used it as a joke, right?
Mhm.
He could.
Yes.
You dial the spoofing card telephone number, right?
I guess. Yes.
And then there's a little second. You put in the phone number that you want to show up in caller ID,
Yes.
and then you dial the number you want to call.
Right.
Then you can pick another kind of voice too, because you can have it alter your voice to make it sound like a woman or a man, something like that, right?
Yes.
It just alters the tone of the voice, kind of like AutoSong does tunes or AutoTune does songs, right?
Yes.
Okay. But there still would be a record of you calling into the spoof card line phone number, right?
I guess.
Okay. So if the Dylan's telephone does not show that any calls were made on it that day, then does that surprise you that the phone wasn't actually used?
I think she's already answered this. This is how we started this whole line. You could.
What was the question? Was it surprised that he called from?
No, that he didn't really use Dylan's phone to call you that day.
I just remember him calling me from a different number that wasn't his, is what made me led to believe that he did not go to the scrapyard.
Okay, so he called you on your cell phone number?
Yes.
So what time of day did he call you on that cell phone?
I don't remember.
So, but you don't know for sure it was Dylan's number?
I thought it was his grandmother's, the one that Dylan was using. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks again, Sarah Ritchie.
So you would agree with me, because you reviewed your cell phone number, your cell phone records from the day Holly disappeared, that you and Zachary Adams had a lot of texting going on that day.
Yes.
I mean, you had tens of texts going back and forth to one another.
Yes.
And he kind of blew up the phone at Joe's video too, didn't he?
Yes.
Joe's video had, was it a landline
Yes.
number?
Yes.
So he
We
blew
had
up-
3 numbers.
They had 3 numbers?
Yes.
Okay, do you happen to remember what those 3 numbers were?
No.
So he blew up the Joe's video number,
Yes.
and he blew up your cell phone number too, because he was calling it a lot.
Yes.
And matter of fact, Cindy Adams, Zach Adams' mother, got involved in your dispute that day, didn't she?
Facebook. Yes.
On Facebook?
Yes.
But she also was on the phone with you and was on the phone with Zach, wasn't she?
Yes.
And she had a Georgia telephone number
Yes, ma'am.
because she lived in Georgia.
Yes.
He's doing all this when
Um,
he's supposed to have a woman that he's kidnapped and is R-ing. He's got his mom on a like a
And
3-way
so
call with his girlfriend.
That's the point. That's the point.
I mean, I think you'd have other things to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you'd be a bit preoccupied.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the fact that that other guy's phone was not used all day is highly suspicious. I don't know if she meant not used to call her or a spoofing number or not used all day. I wasn't sure.
Which other guy?
Sean, I think she said. She said somebody's phone wasn't used all day.
Austin's?
What's his last name?
The
Austin.
Oh, Sean Austin, maybe. No, there's another name.
Shane-
Autry. Yeah.
Jason Autry.
What's the other one?
Jason's the one who he comes in and blows up this whole
Who's
trial.
Shane something?
Austin.
I don't know. K Riggs, what she just asked.
Dylan. It was Dylan's phone, his brother.
Oh, what's Dylan's last name?
Adams. It's his brother.
Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
I thought she said, would it surprise you that Oh, she
Allie
said-
needs a flow chart, y'all. Needs a flow chart. I mean, in Allie's defense, she can't even get our kids' names right. So don't think anything of it. She's just Allie
so
does not dabble in the mundane.
I don't know. I guess I want to say it's weird that Dylan's phone wasn't used all day, but it would depend on if his phone was typically used. You know, I mean, who doesn't use their phone all day? But it's 2011, so I don't know.
Are you aware that cellular telephone numbers, if you get the records, can show where somebody's location is?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware that your cellular telephone records from the night before Holly disappeared, April the 12th, show that you stayed, or they show that your phone was hitting off of the tower in South Parsons? Are you
My
aware?
mother's, yes.
Yes, and your mother lives in South Parsons, is
Yes.
that right? And then the next morning, your telephone records show that they're hitting off the cellular telephone tower in South Parsons again.
Where I work.
Is it possible that you just spent the night there with your mother that night?
It's possible, but I mean, I remember him waking me up that morning where I went there
Wow.
late the night before because we'd been into it.
But it's possible you spent the night at your mother's house.
You just said it was possible.
It's not possible?
I remember him vaguely before, but
Is it possible that you just spent the night there with your mother that night?
it's possible, but
Is it possible that you just spent the night there with your mother that night?
it's possible, but
Is it possible that you just spent the
Get it,
night there
babe.
with your mother that night?
Do we?
it's possible, but I mean, I remember him waking me up that morning where I went there late the night before because we'd been into it.
But it's possible you spent the night at your mother's house.
No.
It's not possible?
I remember him vaguely. I mean, I remember,
You vaguely remember him waking you up that morning.
yes, kissed me on the forehead, said he was hauling scrap. It
Okay.
was that day.
But the thing is, that morning, before Holly had disappeared, there was nothing different about that morning to make it stick out in your mind than Monday morning would have been or Friday morning would have been. Was there?
No.
Because until after Holly disappeared, it was going to be just like any other day, wasn't it?
Right.
And you worked a lot at Joe's Video, didn't you?
Yes, full time.
With the Brits? Isn't that where the Brits worked? Joe Video? Didn't somebody else work at Joe's Video? Better get that flow chart back.
And I see that you wrote, you're the one that spray painted Becca and Zach on the bridge. You all went down to that area a lot, didn't you?
Yes.
And if Zach's cell phone records show that he was over there hitting off of the cellular tower next to the river, it's because you all would go over there.
Yes.
They have a greenway over there under the bridge, don't they?
Yes.
Where people go and exercise and walk, don't they?
Yes.
People go over there to fish. It's a great fishing spot, isn't it?
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that go over there to that greenway, aren't there?
Yes.
And it's really just a beautiful place with birds and wildlife and trees, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
One of us is married to a court reporter and is very aware if people don't answer. So you actually, on March 1st, went over all of your calls with with Joe Walker that day. So the night before, there were multiple calls between you and Zach Adams, after 10 o'clock p.m. So this is on April the 12th. There were multiple calls between you and Zach Adams after 10 p.m. Up until about 1 o'clock a.m.
Yes.
And all of those calls were made. You recognize that location showed that you were hitting off of your mother's tower. Your cell phone was hitting off your mother's tower,
Okay.
where her house is.
Yes.
And nobody else would have been using your phone. It would have been you using that phone at that time. Is that right?
Not necessarily. Sometimes I use my mother's phone,
No,
cell phone.
But nobody else, there's not another
No.
woman that would have called Zach Adams
No.
from your phone.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if somebody's calling Zach Adams from your cell phone, it would have been you. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, everybody wake up.
Was that his football game? What was that?
I don't know what that was. Somebody's phone, or I don't know.
Go back.
Okay, and then
Everyone's
the
saying, yeah, that was
TBI,
football.
They had another little follow-up question for you also on March 1st. And the
All right, everybody wake up.
You got. It sounds like football. Put it down to 1 speed.
Okay, hold on.
She looks right at him.
there's not another
No.
woman that would have called Zach Adams
No.
from your phone.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So So if somebody's calling Zach Adams from your cell phone, it would have been you, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Here it comes.
What?
All right, everybody wake up.
What did he say?
Sorry, I better wake up. He's almost to come over to wake up and you know, he says,
I mean, she's not looking out and around. She's like, oh, what's she doing over there, Your Honor?
Wow.
Touchdown.
What a douchebag.
Or he's watching old
And
auctions.
then the TBI, they had another little follow-up question for you also on March 1st about your telephone. Then
All right, put it back up.
they came back and talked to you again on March
I did.
5th. Do you remember
Oh.
that?
No.
Okay. They talked to you a lot
Yes.
right after they searched Zach's house. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And you testified today that at some point, Zach, you said it's in July when you were finally breaking up, that Zach told you that he was going to tie you up.
Yes.
And nobody would find you. Said he would tie you. I tried to write it down verbatim. Said he would tie you up like he did Holly Bobo, and nobody would ever see you.
Correct.
But at some point, didn't you tell the TBI later on that he said he would tie you up and put you in his closet?
We were in his closet when it happened.
And didn't he indicate to you something about you're claiming that he indicated to you that he would tie you up and put you in the closet like he did Holly Bobo?
No, I never said that. Not that I remember. No.
So if it's in a report, it's an error that you said he put you in the closet.
Yes.
Because certainly you lived there at the time and you know Holly Bobo was not in the closet.
Mm-mm.
And Holly Bobo was not in the Adams house.
No.
She wasn't kept there because you lived there, didn't you?
Yes.
And you certainly wouldn't have tolerated or hidden that fact from the police, would you?
No.
I mean, you weren't so in love with Zach Adams that you would cover up and hide a horrible crime like that from him, would you?
No.
And part of your conflict that you have is, when the DA was asking you if it had been very hard, part of it's because you now feel like you dated and were in love with a person who's been charged with this horrible crime.
Yes.
And so that's something that's very hard for you to take because you feel like you've exposed yourself.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
And so in a way, you're wanting to do the very best you can because you feel like you need to rectify some wrong. Isn't that right?
Yes.
I mean, you're eager to please the TBI and help them convict
I'm eager
Zach.
to tell them the truth. I wouldn't say please them.
Well, you want to help them convict Zach, though, don't you?
Yes.
But what if Zach didn't do it?
You had a very good friend named Brandon Williams, didn't you?
Yes.
And Brandon Williams at the time was a best friend to you, almost like a girlfriend would be.
Yes.
And so Zach Adams actually on the day that Holly disappeared spent some time talking to Brandon Williams also on the telephone, didn't he?
I guess.
And he would have talked to Brandon Williams because
Your Honor, I'm going to check this. This is like conversations she's a party to. She's talking about her clients. She's in
Talking to Brandon
Williams. Right.
The hearsay on hearsay.
well, I didn't say what he said. I just said he had spoken to him.
She said he had spoken to him.
Yeah, and Brandon Williams was contacting you that day too, right?
Yes.
So when he was contacting you, he was working out the relationship. You all were working on relationship problems with Zach Adams, isn't that right?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember.
But you don't remember specifically.
No.
Okay. So now here today, you testified that at some point Zach Adams said everything was ready to go in the back of the truck and there was a big blue Tupperware box back there.
Yes.
And he told you it was the remains of Holly Bobo.
Didn't tell me no.
You're saying he said
They
out
was having their
loud,
own conversation. I was in a different room.
and you're saying now that he said out loud it was the remains of Holly Bobo.
One of them had said that. Yes.
Okay. Well, you could certainly tell the difference between Zach's voice and John Mitchell's voice, couldn't you?
I just don't remember. I just remember going straight to my mother's after that.
Okay. So you didn't go to the police and report it.
No.
And all those times that the TBI's talked to you, you've not mentioned
I
that.
called the TBI after that.
Okay. You called the TBI after that.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
this is before you all broke up for the last time. Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. So you would have had an opportunity to mention the fact that they said, and did you decide they were joking about that? or
No,
were
they ended
serious?
up telling me it was a joke to see if I would call the TBI.
So did you think it was a joke or did you think in fact her remains were in the
I
box?
just blew it off. I didn't think that was her remains. No.
So you thought it was a joke?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you say you called the TBI, but this would have been before
But-
July of 2011.
And her remains
is that
weren't
right?
in the box.
No, this was after.
After July of 2011?
Yes, because me and Zach was already broke up when we was at John's house.
Okay. You know that the TBI has kept records. I mean, they have thousands of telephone calls that they've received from
Mhm.
people. Did you give your name when you called in and said that it was in a big blue Tupperware?
I think so.
You gave them your name.
I think so.
Okay. Well, then when Joe Walker came out to talk to you February 28th, 2014, why didn't you say, by the way, why didn't you follow up on the fact that I said he had Holly's remains in a big blue tub?
When I talked to him on the phone, they said that they were going to go down there and check it.
But you didn't mention that.
I didn't think I had to mention it to him because I've already told him.
They are there on February 28th to talk to you about what you know about the disappearance of Holly Bobo.
Yes,
And at that time, you think it is not necessary to mention to them that at some point he said,
because it was played off as a joke.
okay, so now you're saying it was a joke. You did go ahead and call it into TBI, even though it was a joke, but you didn't mention it when you talked to them February 28th, March 5th, or March 1st.
I didn't think I had to because I think it would be on records.
Okay. You certainly repeated a lot of other facts at that time, though, didn't you?
I guess. I don't know.
There you go. You're muted, right?
I was just saying, WTF? This guy's literally watching his football game. I gotta hear this shit. This clown.
About what you know about the disappearance of Holly Bobo.
Yes,
And at that time, you think it is not necessary to mention to them that at some point he said,
because it was played off as a joke.
okay, so now you're saying it was a joke. You did go ahead and call it into TBI, even though it was a joke, but you didn't mention it when you talked to them February 28th, March 5th, or March 1st.
I didn't think I had to because I think it would be on records.
Okay. You certainly repeated a lot of other facts at that time, though, didn't you?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Just trying to shut it down.
Wow.
Just trying to shut it down.
Wow.
Just
This
trying to
guy.
shut it down.
Wow.
Ashley says she heard it's a catch.
Wow. That is fucked up.
Like, I don't get why all of a sudden it starts playing out loud. Is he having like a secret little headphone?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Wow.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
I mean, if he doesn't find this witness mildly interesting, I can't help this dude. You know, I mean, in terms of the trial, I don't get it. He's asking his clerk.
Yeah,
Now, you
clerk.
said that you introduced Zach to Natalie.
How do I watch this football game without that sound happening all the time? What the fuck is going on? These people start wondering what the hell I'm doing up here on the bench. I don't know what they're doing.
Fucking foghorn leghorn up
Bobo.
there.
That would have been after Holly disappeared, wasn't it?
No, it was right when me and Zach had started talking. This was before we even got serious. It was when I lived on 6th Street in Parsons.
And so it's just, I mean, you've never before told the TBI that you had introduced Zach to
Yes.
Natalie. When did you tell the TBI this?
From the get-go, I guess. From the very get-go.
Well, we reviewed that first report that you had with Ricky Inman. You didn't mention it to Ricky Inman.
No, not then. I didn't.
We reviewed the second report that you had where they came to talk to you on the 28th. You didn't mention it then, did you?
I don't remember.
So you're saying here today that you were the one that introduced Zach to Natalie Bobo.
As far as I know, yes.
The hell is Natalie Bobo?
Holly's sister.
Where is she?
She used to go to the
You're
Joe's
talking earlier about
video
your car, but
for
in fact,
tanning.
you had an accident and wrecked your car in May of 2011, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And after that, Zach allowed you to drive his truck, didn't he?
No, he would take me to and from work.
He did allow you to drive that truck some, didn't he?
Not that I remember.
He never let you drive it.
Maybe one or two
That's what I
times.
thought. Holly's cousin.
Oh, it's her cousin? Oh. I need a flow chart.
Yep.
Yep.
Did the TBI or DCS come take away your child after it was born?
No, ma'am.
And by that time, you'd straightened up drug-wise anyway, hadn't you?
Yes.
I mean, you were clean when your son was born.
Yes.
So there wouldn't have been a reason for them to take your son away based
Correct.
on drug use or anything. And you're employed right now?
Yes, ma'am.
So you, even though Joe's video has gone out of business,
Yes.
but you have no problem providing for your child, is
No,
that
ma'am. I
right?
work 2 jobs.
And that would have been the same in 2014, right?
Yes.
Now, in the process of you breaking up with Zach Adams back in 2011, at some point you had some of your furniture and belongings over at Zach's house, didn't you?
At what time?
In 2011, when you all were living together?
Yes.
You had
Yes.
some of your furnishings and belongings over there, didn't you?
Yes.
You had a mattress over there, in fact.
Yes.
And when you all were breaking up, you at some point moved that mattress back home and then moved it back to Zach's?
Yes.
Did you ever have that mattress leaning against the back of the house?
She did just ask her about that. Was she getting a mattress from him? Is that what she asked?
She asked about the mattress, if she had the mattress over there, and then if it made it back to her house.
And she said, yeah.
Yeah. She didn't ask her about whether or not she ever had it leaning. Did you ever see your mattress leaning against the back of the house? DB, I hate this witness.
Now, Zach had access to Zach did use Facebook back in 2011, isn't that right?
Yes.
And he would post to it, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't get on and post to his Facebook page, did you?
No.
He didn't post to your Facebook page. I mean, post as him.
No.
And you didn't post as him. He didn't post as you on your Facebook page.
No.
That's different than writing a message or writing on the wall.
Comment. Yes.
And so I just want to, as a final matter, can you tell me exactly what you did on April the 13th, 2011?
I worked.
Okay. What time did you get up that morning?
I got up around 8 o'clock.
Do you remember what you wore?
No.
Okay. You think you got up around 8 o'clock. Can you be more specific than that?
No.
Okay. And what did you do next? Did you eat
I got
breakfast?
ready for work and drove to Joe's video, called in something to eat at Sonic, went to the bank, did
Okay.
a deposit.
Called in something to eat at Sonic. Do you remember that specifically?
Yes.
Or is it just what you did every morning?
This is what I did every morning.
Okay. So you don't have a specific memory that morning of what you called in to eat?
No.
Okay. You went to the bank. Do you remember how much the bank deposit was that day?
No.
Okay. Then what did you do next?
Went and got my food at Sonic and then went to work.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many customers you had that day?
No.
Do you have, you remember, of course, that Holly was disappeared from her home.
Yes.
Do you remember specifically what time you got off that day?
No.
Do you remember what you had for lunch that day?
No.
Do you remember what you had for dinner that day?
No.
Do you remember where you went after work?
No.
Do you remember where you spent the night that night?
Started out at my mother's.
The night of the 13th? The night of the 13th.
The night of the 13th. I was at work. I worked late, I know. But I don't remember where I went afterwards now.
Okay. Do you remember what time you went to bed?
Mm-mm.
Okay. No further questions.
So, Love Always Truth asked, what's this about the
Yes.
mattress? They pause it real quick.
She asked you why you were scared.
The state put on a officer to testify that when he went to the Adams house, there was a mattress sitting on the back deck, just sitting up there, a mattress, and it looked clean and it didn't look old, and it was just sitting up there. So it was very, very, very suspicious, especially from the tone of his voice.
And there was a 6x8 circle out there that looked like a grave.
But I dug in it, and it wasn't a grave.
It weren't a grave. And
But I saw that grave. I knew it was something.
bloody mattress in the grave, and I knew at that point it was Zach Adams who had done Holly Bobo in.
This is a fucking crazy trial, man. So this guy's about to ask her about why she was scared. Did you hear that part?
Yep.
Been up there a while?
Yes,
A while longer.
yes.
She asked you why you were scared of her. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Let's start with the day y'all finally broke up. Okay?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I'm
Okay,
going to object to any kind of 404B, Your Honor.
I think the door's wide
I
open.
did not open that door, Your Honor. That was not the intent of that question. You can approach.
Let's take a recess. How about 15 minutes and then we'll continue.
That door's wide open.
What I'm going to do, rather than make each of these an exhibit, I'm just going to give them a court reporter. They'll be collective exhibit, whatever the note was, okay? And I'll go ahead and tell you what they are. One of them says, what is 404B content? I'm going to tell them that that's a rule of evidence and that we really don't need to go into it. It's strictly legal grounds, okay? And the other one, they won't know what game I was playing. I think that's when the sound went off.
Your Honor, before they do come in, I do want to put on the record that the state filed a supplement to the state's notice of intention to use evidence in, I guess, 404D is attached on the back of that set of motions at the end of May. And in that motion to introduce 404B evidence, we included the domestic violence. Well, we included actually, it's like 12 things, including the information that we sought to admit today. We are asking the court to allow us to hear that motion. At the time, we had motion hearings, and the defense, of course, I guess, did not want us to introduce that. Your Honor said that we would take that up in the course of the trial as these things came.
Do you want to take it up now?
I do, because this is the right witness. This would have been the witness.
All right, let's bring the witness in. Keep the jury out.
Babe, check your phone.
All right.
No, honey. Oh yeah, I did. I got my dad and I got us Jimmy John's sandwiches because I knew he was
One
starving.
on the first one, 2 on one of these, 3 on the other.
I woke up again and he was eating. He had the package of Chips Ahoy sitting there at the table. And had eaten the remnants of whatever's left of the Dunkin' Donuts. Poor guy was scavenging. So after PT, I swung over and picked some. I swung by the Jewel as well. This guy is not still on the bench, Steph. We got an update. He's actually in a facility. DB told us that last week. He is full-blown dementia or Alzheimer's.
See, before you said that, I was going to crack a joke about him being a sportscaster somewhere.
Well, DB said that this is shortly after this trial, actually, that his became so evident that his mental health had declined to the extent where, I mean, he's in a facility.
K. Riggs says full-time memory care.
Yeah.
So to Spitfire.
Yeah, the media interveners, that's not going anywhere.
Oh, sorry, I clicked off of it. I don't know what it said.
It said, this is in relation to Spencer. There was the media, somebody filed an intervening motion to try to get a pool camera in there. That's going nowhere.
Well, maybe it will because she wants to limit the seats and there's this motion pending. So
I don't think so. I don't think she's gonna bend on that one. She might cave on the seats, but she'll cave on the seats before she caves on the camera. I don't know if I've ever seen a Arkansas trial streamed. I mean, if they didn't stream the West Memphis 3 trial.
Well, that was so long ago.
Still.
All right, I got to go get myself some
meatballs,
mozzarella cheese, some fresh mozzarella,
some
fresh
balls.
mozzarella.
He's gonna have some balls. Allie's gonna make some balls.
Stop.
The witness is what I want. All right, you'll have a seat there. Statement proceed.
There's two someone direct. Okay. Jury's not here. There's 2 things that we started talking about.
All right, just so you have an idea here, jury's not present currently, and the judge is trying to determine whether or not he's going to allow this particular line of testimony in. State's arguing that Thompson opened the door as to 404B stuff coming in. And I'm assuming it's relating to the violence that was going on in the relationship between Zach and Rebecca here. But so this is outside the presence of the jury right now.
We talked about your representation. That's what I'm going to ask you about now. Okay. Let's start on the day that you finally left in July.
Okay.
Zach Adams. Do you remember that day?
The day that I left?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it something you'll ever forget?
Correct.
Listen to my question.
Uh-huh.
Is it something that you'll ever forget?
Oh, no.
Can you tell us what happened that day?
We got into it physically. I was trying to get away. I took off running, ran in the closet, and he held me down and was trying to tie my feet up with one of his belts. And he told me that he was going to tie me up just like he did Holly Bobo, and nobody would ever find me again. And somehow I got away. He was in his boxer shorts, and I grabbed his manly as tight as I could and pulled him. That's how I got away, and I took off running.
And at the time that he said that, his demeanor, was he joking with you?
No.
Was he being very violent with you?
Yes.
Was he being very serious with you?
Yes.
And is that something you'll ever forget?
No.
Rewind to the day that Holly Bobo went missing.
Okay.
You described how Zach came to Joe's video.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
You described it as being getting toward noon.
Mhm.
Or getting toward the afternoon.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What happened when Zach came to Joe's video?
The reason why we was into it, I don't really remember, but when he got out of the truck and he came up to me forcefully and grabbed my head as tight as he could and headbutted me.
That was on the very day that she went missing.
Yes.
Hours afterwards.
Yes.
And when he did that, was he joking or was he doing
No.
violent?
No.
The fact he'd been violent with you, were those reasons why you were afraid of him?
Yes.
But you were still there living with him.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to be heard on 404B.
I'm ready to roll. As far as 404B, court finds that these acts of domestic violence, I find that they did occur by clear and convincing evidence. They might conserve a material issue as far as showing her fear, but as far as the last part of that, the court must exclude the evidence of its probative value is outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice, and the court so. So we won't go further into those matters. Let's bring our jury in, please. We're going to go until the evening break. Had a couple more questions. Someone wanted to know what 404B content is. I will tell you that that's actually a rule of evidence, but it's something that concerns itself in court from a legal standpoint. It does not concern the jury. It's a determination that I must make concerning admissibility of certain evidence. Okay. And then number two, somebody wanted to know what game I was playing. I did that. I hit one of these doggone videos, and I did it twice. And it sounded like it on loudspeakers up here. But I think we've got that remedied. I will tell you periodically, I will check things on this. I've got Westlaw where I can do legal research. I've actually looked at these proceedings that are being televised to make sure that the press is in conformity with what they're allowed to show and not show. So that's some of what I've been doing up here. And I just hit the wrong button. I might have told you my tech support is my wife and daughter. I can barely get around on this thing. So I make mistakes, but we got it silenced now. Okay. All right. We're ready to proceed.
Yeah, sure, pal.
Sure,
Sure, pal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We've heard about at times something happening at one time and then a different time, maybe at a different time. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
We've heard how your life was back then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We've heard that it was volatile with him, correct?
Yes.
We've heard that you were scared of him.
Yes.
I want to drill down right now, just the absolute truth of 3 or 4 things.
Okay.
Okay? So can you really listen to my questions?
Yes.
Okay. The day when you finally left him.
Okay.
What did he say to you that day?
One day that he left. I don't remember. Today that he.
Let me
He can ask it another way. He's already given testimony.
back it up. It's something you already told us.
Okay.
Okay. The day that you finally left.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not asking you what happened. But the day that you finally left, what did he say to you?
I don't remember.
Okay, well maybe I'm confused.
Your Honor,
He didn't want me to leave.
All right, would you stand and make your objection?
oh, I'm sorry, yes.
And it has not been answered. He can ask.
When did Zach Adams tell you to tie you up like Holly Bobo and you never be seen?
July the 13th.
You remember that day?
Yes.
Is that not the day that you finally left him?
Yes, and I called my mother to come get me, and he ended up calling her back saying that everything was okay. But my mother had an instinct to go ahead and send my nephew to come get me.
Okay, stop it there.
Mhm.
So did my question confuse you before that?
Yes,
It did.
yes,
So July the 13th isn't a day you're ever going to forget?
No.
When's your birthday?
July 14th.
It's the day before your birthday.
Yes,
It's the day that you finally got away from him, right?
yes.
Your mother came and picked you up?
No, my nephew.
And what did he say to you that day?
He told me that I better not go to the law or I better not.
I would be objecting like a mofo to that characterization the day you finally got. It's like the third time he said that. The day you finally got away from him. There is no way that he should be allowed to phrase that like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Little shit like that matters. Oh, the day that you finally got away from him. The monster. The day that you escaped him. Come on.
Not make any statements, otherwise he would hurt me or my family.
And you were afraid of him.
Yes,
And is that not the same day that he told you he'd tie you up like Holly Bobo?
yes.
Now back. I don't want to confuse you.
Okay.
And you really listened, you've been there a long time.
Mhm.
Now back. April 13th. When Holly goes missing.
Mhm.
Where did you wake up that morning?
Zach's house.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
What woke you up that morning?
Zach.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
About what time did that happen?
Anywhere from 6 to 7.
Just speak up, please.
Anywhere from 6 to 7.
So would you agree with me that you can't say that it was at 6:05? You can't say it was at 6:15? You
Correct.
can't say it was at 6:50? It was between 6 and 7.
Yes.
Are you sure of that?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
He kissed me on the forehead and told me to go back to bed but not to be late for work.
Okay. What did he tell you about where he was going?
To the scrapyard.
And when he told you this, how close to you is he?
What do you mean, how close?
How physically close is he to you?
Standing from me. I mean, he was standing at the edge of the bed.
At the edge of the bed.
Yes.
And you're in bed.
Mhm.
You know, just feet away from each other.
Mhm.
And he tells you not to be late to work, that he's going scrap.
Yes.
What do you do after he tells you that?
I go back to bed.
You go back to bed.
Mhm.
And you sleep some more.
Yes.
Do you know when you woke up?
It's about 8 o'clock. I mean, well, no, it's about 7:45, something like that.
Okay. Would you agree with me that you don't know if it was 7:45, if it was 7:50, if it was 8, if it was 8:05?
I don't really remember.
Okay, well, so that's important.
Mhm.
Okay? That's important.
Okay.
Where do you go that way?
I go to work.
Joe's video.
Yes.
Do you see Zach later that day at Joe's video?
Yes.
I'm not asking you what he did, but what was his demeanor? Was he happy? Was he sad?
He seemed irritable.
Irritable.
Yes.
At that point, did you already suspect that he hadn't been scrapping?
Yes.
Do you know what you did after you got off work that day?
No,
Do you know if you went back to your mom's house?
I don't remember.
Okay. Mom was in Parsons, right?
Yes.
Do you know if you went back to Zach's house?
I don't remember.
Do you know if you spent the night at your mama's house or Zach's
I
house?
don't remember.
But do you remember? I'm asking you, do you remember in the days after that
Mhm.
being in Zach's house with Zach Adams and Shane Olsen?
Yes.
And do you remember something coming on the TV about Holly Bobo?
Yes.
And when it did, what happened?
Shane started laughing.
And when Shane left, how far from Shane were you?
I was sitting in the kitchen. He was sitting in the living room, so probably from here to the corner of that, from those piles of paper right there. A little farther,
I don't see papers.
about right there.
10, 15 feet from you.
Mhm.
10 feet from you. And he laughs. And what does Zach do?
He makes the comment saying that they'll probably never find her.
They'll probably never find her.
Mhm.
And did that laugh and his comment, did it have an effect on you?
Yes.
Is it something you remember?
Yes.
And then you describe other things.
Mhm.
The time you stayed with Zach, even after that.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Were those good days for you?
No.
What truck was Zach driving then, April 13th?
White Nissan.
Is there
Truck.
any doubt in your mind about that?
No.
Now, the same truck he'd been arrested in 10 days or whatever it was before, is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Had he gotten the truck back?
I guess he went through so many vehicles. I don't know, but
Well,
yes,
this is my question.
Dick had it.
She's guessing at something. I'm just guessing.
This is my question. What truck was Zach driving on April 13th?
White Nissan truck
Okay. And why are you sure of that?
because he came up to Joe's video, and he pulled up right where I was sitting.
And did you see it?
Yes.
How far away from him?
Me to you.
3 or 4 feet.
Mhm.
Him and his wife missing. Don't
Yes.
worry about your kids.
I'm not.
So had he gotten that truck back after he was arrested?
After he was arrested, when?
Exactly. I confused you. The weeks before, the park ranger.
Yes, yes, he did.
He had gotten the truck back?
Mhm.
Were you with him when he got it back?
No.
How do you know he got it back?
Because it was in Dick's. It was parked over there between the two houses, Dick's house and his house.
So you remember he got it back?
Mhm.
You remember you saw it?
Yes.
There's been questions about, or I heard questions about, well, didn't Zach go scrapping different days? Is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember that morning when he kissed you on the forehead and woke you up, that he actually told you that he was going to scrap?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I even heard the trailer and the truck drive around the house. They had the trailer full of scrap.
And in fact, before you left that day, did you do something with a note or something?
Yes, I wrote a note telling him whenever he got back to put the clothes in the laundry
Whenever he got back to the clothes in the laundry.
or put the clothes in the dryer.
Okay. And that was just a
On a
piece
little
of
notebook.
paper or something. All right.
Mhm.
Later on, did something happen to that note?
I checked all the dates.
I'm not suggesting what happened to it.
No, overruled.
Later on, did something happen to that note?
Yes, part of the bottom paper was ripped off.
And did that happen that day?
I don't remember
Okay. Why do you remember this note, and why do you remember this?
because he was telling me that he had been home, and I knew he hadn't. Or he told me he'd been home, but yet the clothes weren't in the dryer, and like I said, that paper was ripped, and then the scrapyard's business card was taped on there.
Okay, so you left a note for him
Mhm.
before you left
Mhm.
on April 13th of 2011. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Asked him something about putting the clothes in the dryer.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And he had told you that he hadn't been home.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But the note was different?
Mhm.
How was it different?
It was the bottom paper was ripped.
Okay. And what about, there's something about a business card or
It
something?
was an old business card. It was real dirty. It was just taped on there.
So you had taped on a business card? This
It
note?
looked like it was misplaced, like it wasn't supposed to be taped on there. It was, I don't know.
Okay.
But I knew I didn't leave it there.
And this made an impression on you.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons you were so suspicious.
Yes.
And so what'd you do with that note?
I kept it.
You kept it.
Yes.
April the 13th, the note, you kept it.
Mhm.
And what'd you do with it after you kept it?
I later gave it to y'all.
You gave it to who?
To one of the TBI agents.
To the TBI agent.
Yes.
How pressure was it? What is that?
The note I wrote that.
Whose handwriting is that?
Mine.
And what are you telling them?
Will you put those clothes in the dryer for me? Thanks. Have a great day.
And when you returned later that day,
Mhm.
what had happened to the note?
It was ripped on the bottom.
So when you left it, it was a full page of paper?
Yes, sir.
And what else had happened to it?
The business card was taped on, like, it was halfway taped on the side and on the counter.
And what kind of business card is it?
It's auto salvage.
And that's what he told you he was going to do, right? It was
Yes.
like scrap?
Mhm.
But you know that he did.
Right.
But yet he left that.
Yes.
And so you kept it.
Yes.
You kept it. An actual piece of evidence from April 13th of 2011. I introduce that evidence to strangers.
Exhibit 65.
So when you're asked about this scrapping on April 11th, whether or not you remember it, well, here it is. It's from April 13th, right?
Mhm.
Here it is.
Mhm.
Here it is. This is exhibit 65. Whose writing's this?
Mine.
What does it say? Read to me.
Oh, yes. Will you put the clothes in the dryer, please? Have a great day. Thanks, Love Becca.
And it was on a piece of paper when you left on April 13th.
Yes.
When you came back, paper's ripped.
Yes.
They told you he hadn't been home.
Right.
And then there's this salvage card taped to it.
Mhm.
But you knew he hadn't been scrapped.
Right.
And so you kept this.
Mhm.
And you turned it in.
Mhm.
What's it, Judge?
Okay, so on July the 20th, 2011, that's after the day in infamy, July the 13th, 2011, of course, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay. And on that day, you've already left Zach Adams forever as his girlfriend. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, when you talked to Ricky Inman, you told him that Zach was still at home when you left for work that morning around 9:15 a.m. Didn't you?
Yes, I did. But you've got to understand, I was under the influence. I was scared to death. And
Okay.
he had already told me. I mean, as all with all the threats and things that he's given me, of course I'm not going to tell the whole truth.
Okay, so you weren't going to tell the whole truth then,
Mm-mm.
right? But between that day, July the 20th, 2011, you remained friends with Zach Adams up until the time he was arrested,
I loved him.
didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. You loved him.
Mhm.
Okay. And you remained friends. You continued to go over to his house and hang out with him, didn't you?
Yes.
And so later on, when you spoke to, I guess earlier today, minutes ago, after 3:30 p.m., when you testified in front of this jury, you told this jury that you woke up on April the 13th, 2011, sometime between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., didn't you?
Mhm.
And then just minutes ago, you told Paul Hagerman on your redirect that you woke up sometime between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., didn't you?
Yes.
So you cut 30 minutes of it off.
It's been 6 years ago.
Okay, so it's been 6 years. Your memory is fuzzy.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'd like to look at this note we've just put in. Is this the note right here? I'm going to look at this note that we've just put in. This is the note. And you pull out this note years later. Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, you broke up with Zach July the 13th, 2011. And sometime in 2014 is the first time you produced this note, isn't it?
I don't remember when I produced it. I don't remember when I gave it to him.
Okay. Well, if it doesn't, it's not mentioned in your report with Ricky Inman, is it?
No.
Okay. And so you agreed with me earlier that from that point, after you talked to Ricky Inman in 2011, the next time you spoke with officers was after Zach had been arrested on these charges, isn't it?
Yes.
And you came forward and you say you have this note, and this note right here, a scrap note on a piece of notebook paper, is how you remember the day that Zach went scrapping.
Yes, ma'am.
But this note does not have a date on it, does it?
No.
This note, and I think you may have misread it earlier, it says, Zach, will you put these clothes in dryer for me? Thanks. Have a great day. Peace sign, heart, smiley face, love, Becca.
Mhm.
Okay. And it happens to have a card for the Highway 191 Auto Salvage. Take to it.
Mhm.
But this note in and of itself doesn't help you remember which day it was that Zach went scrapping, does it?
It helped me remember because I knew that was another reason that he was in a lie. I mean, he told me a lie.
Right. But the thing was, if you think about it, because you're saying you suspected he was cheating on you, and when the whole thing about metal scrapping is he went metal scrapping, but you think maybe instead he was cheating on you and didn't really go metal scrapping. That's why you were mad, right?
I never said that, no.
I thought you said you were worried he was cheating on you.
During our relationship, yeah.
No, but I thought on direct you said you were worried that he was cheating on you.
At one point in our relationship, yes, but not that morning, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understood that morning you thought he was cheating on you.
No.
Okay. But in fact, he had, or it's very possible he had been metal scrapping on other days that same week, right?
Yes.
And this just helps you remember. I mean, if you're honest with yourself, it helps you remember you were mad at him about metal scrapping.
Mhm.
It's only through an association in your memory that you say it's on that particular Wednesday. It could have been on that Monday, couldn't it? It's possible.
No, because I specifically remember that was another reason why he lied to me that day, because I knew he had been at home because of the bottom piece of the paper had been ripped.
The bottom piece of the paper being ripped lets you know he was at home some point during the day.
Yes.
Okay. But that could have been on Monday. The paper being ripped doesn't help you distinguish Monday from Wednesday, does it?
No.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, you were already fussing with him on Tuesday, April the 12th, because that's why you were at your mother's house late, isn't it?
Yes.
That's why you were considering not spending the night with him, because you were already in a fight, isn't it?
Yes.
And you don't specifically now remember what that fight was about, do you?
No.
Okay. So it's possible that the fight on Tuesday had to do with metal scrapping on Monday, isn't it?
If you say so.
No, I'm asking you, it's possible, isn't it?
No.
Okay. So the
Seems like
fact that
she's
there happens to be an auto salvage card taped to this note does not help you remember what specific day this occurred on, does it? It's not this specific question.
We're about to beat this thing to death. Go on.
Mhm.
Because in fact, he already knew where to go scrapping. He didn't need a card to go
Mm-mm.
scrap there.
Mm-mm.
He didn't need to pick up a card so he knew where to go that day.
Correct.
So you say that he gets to Joe's video and you have a fight at Joe's video with him over scrapping.
You're muted.
Just in defense of Jennifer Thompson a bit, we are at 1.5. So she
And I do just want to say, I'm pretty sure she was pissed. He did not put those clothes in the damn dryer, even though he came home.
Yeah, I want to give you an example. She doesn't sound quite as
Crazy.
outraged at one point at regular speed. So here I'll give you an idea because
Say where to go that day this occurred on, does it? It's not this specific question.
We're about to beat this thing to death. Go
Because in fact, he already knew where to go scrapping. He didn't need a card to go scrap there. He didn't need to pick up a card, so he knew where to go that day.
Correct.
So you say that he gets to Joe's video, and you have a fight at Joe's video with him over scrapping. Is that
Bye
what-
all.
you had an argument with him at Joe's video over scrapping?
Yes.
Okay.
who's leaving?
Me. I
Oh,
told you. You had
hey,
me
take
45
care now. Take care. Take
right.
care.
Bye, everybody.
Where are you going?
To do my things and such.
All right. Yeah, I'm picking up that rental at 10 a.m. So you
Okay.
know.
I'm running on my and okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So
All right. See you
start-
guys.
Start handling your shit.
Bye.
And he shows up at Joe's video. You say he has the trailer on the truck at Joe's video?
No, the trailer wasn't on there. No.
Okay. So he shows up only with the car.
The truck.
Sorry.
Yes.
The truck. Okay, so if you're having a fight already at Joe's video about the scrapping, you haven't even gone home yet to see the note, have you?
Mm-mm.
So already at Joe's video, you suspected apparently that he hadn't gone scrapping.
Mm-hmm.
So the note in that case didn't have anything to do with reminding you about the fight.
Right.
Okay. And it's possible he could have gone scrapping and still gone home before you, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you don't remember what time you got home that day, do you?
Correct.
And you don't even remember if you spent the night at Zach's house that day or you spent the night at your mom's house that night, do you?
Mm-mm.
No. You don't remember what you had for dinner that day, do you?
Yes.
I thought on direct. you just
Because
had-
actually, when the conversation about we was
See, she sounds way more aggressive at 1.5. She sounds like she's really firing away at her. You know, like the rapid fire questioning at regular speed. Not quite as
watching the news and the conversation come up about her being missing, and Zach said that they never find her. I remember what I was cooking that night and eating, and so that was the day that she come up missing.
So you're saying this very day now that that it comes up on the news and he says they'll never find her is the very day that she disappeared?
It was either that day or the day after.
Oh, but you don't remember. So now
No.
you don't remember. So now you don't know for sure what you
I just
think
remember
for dinner.
specific details that stuck out to me that didn't seem right.
Okay. Because you left some of these important things out, you didn't mention.
You got a question, President Stevens?
I have a leading question for my cross-examination.
I can get that back in there, I'm sorry.
mixtapes. They call them.
You have not been charged with lying to any of the TBI agents, even though you've changed your story multiple times, have you?
No, I'm gonna object. There's not such a charge. She
There's
wasn't
obstruction of justice. There is obstruction of
You can ask
justice.
her if she's been charged.
You've not been charged
She said
with,
She has not been charged.
okay. No further questions.
All right. Sit there. Please don't discuss your testimony with anyone. You're free to go. We're at 5:25. I think it's time for us to be
Fair.
ready to go first thing in the morning. I hope we can pick up the pace at that time. There's been a whole lot of repetitive, and I want council to concentrate and try to focus to avoid redundancy. All the admonitions I gave you at the outset, leave your notebooks here, be secured overnight. Hopefully, everybody can do tonight. Okay? Thank you.
All right, so
That's honorable court.
we're
Amen.
into day 3. Means a new Jennifer Thompson outfit, new Jennifer Nichols outfit, new bow tie for the judge, all the things.
Okay, we're about 5 minutes still. They're in the process of bringing the jury down.
Oh, definitely prefer mixtapes.
Are we dead? And I actually was off mic here then, so I remember that. State, how you?
I mean, when you made a mixtape for somebody, that meant you were into them because that took a lot of work. That took a lot of work to make a mixtape. A lot of work. That wasn't just going on to fucking Spotify and selecting a bunch of songs. That was a whole thing. It was like an all-day endeavor. Yeah. I was thinking about it, Shelly Beans. I don't know. And then I was talking to Allie about doing a recap daily, and then I just think this case is more important. Plus, there were plenty of creators doing that thing. I don't know. It's a weird case. It definitely piqued my interest. It's funny. It's funny. So I heard in the au pair trial that the state has rested. Is that accurate? I would like to watch Brendan testify if he in fact if he's going to take the stand. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think this one deserves our attention heavily. Oh, by the way, our dear friend DB just had an episode drop. I'm excited to announce over on the Trial and Error podcast. Go over to their site, find them on Spotify, all the places you get your pods. The DB episode, and I was very excited to see it. I wasn't aware. He didn't give me a heads up for whatever reason. I don't know why he did that. But it popped up in my feed. It's because I'm listening to them a lot now. So it was like, boop. And I was like, what is this? What is this? And I don't know who did that write-up for the episode, but it was great. I'm curious if it was the robot. If not, it was well written. DB's getting into the tech stuff for us. Talking about because like that description was almost like they were talking about me when they start talking about phone data, and I just like my head just goes like, what? What are these? I'm like, is DB gonna save me? Is he gonna explain it so I understand it? It's like I start to, I get bored with it pretty quickly. So DB breaks that shit down for us. So everybody go check that out. Immediatamente. Our boy's got the big brains. So if you want to learn a little something, go check that out right now. So, all right, let's get back to it. Katie, I thought you were coming on. I feel like that guy that's like waiting for a Tinder date at a restaurant, and it's like an hour past, and the waiter's coming over to the table like, hey man, you gonna stick it out, bro? Considering I never had a dating life because I was in one lengthy relationship after another, I have to just, really kind of go by movies. That's how that shit goes. So all right, let's go. So we are day 3. I didn't love Rebecca. Again, I'm pretending like I don't know everything that we know now in terms of trying to understand how they convicted Zach Adams. So like from that perspective, she was the first damaging witness. Did I think she was a death knell? Obviously not. I thought Jennifer did a fair job in breaking her down. I think that she could have done a lot more. But I think that State got a few points there with her. So, let's see who they got next.
Next witness, please.
Dennis McKenzie.
Dennis somebody. Looks like
All right, come in, raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Be seated there, and I want you to state your name and spell first and last name for the benefit of the court.
Dennis McKenzie.
Dennis McKenzie.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
We have heard your name twice in this trial. Okay. So let's start with April of 2011. What was your job? What was your business?
McKenzie Tree Service. Actually owned McKenzie Tree Service at the time, and Dana worked for me. He was working for me.
Get a lot of people working for you?
Had right at 100 employees. Yes.
100 employees?
Yes, sir.
Big operation?
Yes, sir.
It was your business?
It was, yes.
Did you know Dana?
I knew Dana and Karen both for a long time.
Just through work or socially too?
Well, socially, I knew Karen when she started doing student teaching up Scotts Hill. I was actually a senior in high school. She was up there doing her student teaching. She graduated from college. And then as we all got older and had kids, our kids played on the same t-ball team together. And got to know them through that way. Of course, we all live in a small tight community, And then later on down the road, Dana got to working for me. And done me a real good job.
When Holly went missing,
I resemble
did
that
you
comment.
help search her?
I did, yes. Yes, us, myself, and several more employees did for several weeks there before I had to let someone go back to work. They didn't want to go back to work. But some of us had to. And we were just trying our best to help find, maybe put an end to what was a nightmare. So,
How much search did you do?
if I don't mind mentioning, me and Brian probably was two that stayed the most. I guess we was by ourselves a lot, probably 18 months, I guess.
That mean getting out in the woods?
Yes, we stayed in the woods about all the time, and creeks and the springs, and pretty much that's every weekend thing. A lot of afternoons.
I want to ask you about one particular day.
What? Do what?
It's arranged by Warren Range.
Do what? What the fuck going on? Do what?
It's arranged by Warren Range.
Have we hit a glitch in the matrix? Is that what's going on?
After
right
Warren
now?
had talked to him.
Where we all set up at?
We've set up behind the house in the woods out there. I think it's actually county property, I think. We was on.
We all had?
We was, yes.
Were you in those woods for a long time?
I was that morning, probably 3 to 4 hours, I'd say.
To watch
What's that? Yes, sir. See what his actions was after Warren had talked to him.
We've heard what Brian Young saw, so I'm not asking you what Brian Young saw.
Okay.
What did you see once Warren Randy left?
Once Warren Ray left, I seen Zach go from his house to this, I call it a garage or shop, kind of in the back side of his house. And vacuumed for probably an hour and a half in a black truck. And after we observed that, Brian had found those gloves, if I'm allowed to say that. And he had told me he was going to go meet Warren.
All right, you can't say what someone told you.
Okay.
You can say what you observed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'd seen Brian find the gloves, and he had come to me and told me he needed to take these to Warren.
I don't know what he's going to say, so I can't say.
So you understand? You just said that you saw Brian find those gloves.
Yeah, I seen Brian pick the gloves up. I was with
Then you started to say what he said or something.
He told-
No, don't
you
do
can't say
that.
what he told you.
Okay,
Okay.
don't do it. You understand?
Okay.
Okay. But did Brian leave at that point?
He did, yes.
Or start leaving?
Yeah, he left to go see Warren, if I could say that.
And what did you do then?
I stayed behind, and I observed and watched Zach. He was stayed in there another probably 10 or 15 minutes in the shop vacuuming. He came out of the shop, and the two mattresses on the kind of northeast end of the house was leaned up against the back of the house, and he picked up the water hose and went to rinsing off the mattresses, which he didn't stand there for a long time. It wasn't 15 or 20 minutes worth. It was probably about 5 minutes, just enough to wet down both mattresses pretty good. Then he laid down the water hose and went right back into the shop and went right back into vacuuming again.
Right back to that. Nothing else, Judge.
Cross.
All right, why are you putting this guy on when the witness just prior to him is claiming that she spent the night there, even though there's some conflicting reports that she did not, in fact, spend the night there, and that she claimed that Holly was never at the house because she lived there. So which way do they want it? Was Holly now at the house and now he's rinsing off all the evidence of the dirty deeds done dirt cheap with the hose on the mattresses? What is going on? Pick a lane. Pick a lane.
Mr. McKenzie, I'm Jennifer Thompson. Now, you just now testified that Zach Adams pulled out did you say a water hose and began to wash these mattresses?
Yes, ma'am. Spray them off. He was spraying them off.
Spraying them off,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. And now you gave a statement regarding this to the police in the past.
Yes.
Matter of fact, you spoke with do you remember speaking with Joshua Carter from the TBI?
Yes, I spoke to several. Yes.
And you gave a statement after Zachary Adams had been arrested in this case.
Correct.
And if I told you it was March 26, 2014 at 11:45 a.m., would that sound reasonable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew that Zach Adams at that point had been charged with the crime.
Yes, ma'am.
And you definitely wanted to help the Bobo family find the killer of Holly Bobo.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it means it's important to you. Is that right?
Yes, it was. It's personal.
Okay, personal.
Yeah.
Now, when you gave that statement at the time, you specifically said that you saw Zach Adams pull out the vacuum and vacuum the mattresses that were outside, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now you're saying that you remember that he pulled out a water hose and washed the mattresses.
He actually did both, to be honest with you.
Okay, so now you're saying that you left out the vacuum part?
I did, yes.
Okay, so now the way that you remember it is he vacuumed the mattresses and then he washed the mattresses off.
That's correct. Yes.
But that's a detail that you left out when you spoke to the police 3 years ago.
Right. It's been it's been a long time now.
No further questions.
None? No, I'm sorry. I know you were sorry. Step down. You're free to go. You can come back in the courtroom. Just don't discuss your testimony with anyone, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Next,
John Graves.
John.
Graves.
Johnny Graves. That was his name.
Raise your right hand, sir. So we swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Be seated. State your name and spell first and last name for the court reporter, please.
John Graves, JONGRAVES.
Okay, you can see.
And Mr. Graves, I'm not asking for your address, but where do you live?
I live on Gibson Road,
What county is that in, or what
That's-
county?
Decatur County.
Is that close, near to Parsons in that area?
Yes, about probably 5 miles north.
And did you grow up in that
I
area?
did.
You know a lot of people in the area?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to April of 2011, did you know a family last name Bobo?
I did.
And how did you know them?
Well, Miss Karen was my 7th grade school teacher, actually.
See her today in the courtroom back there?
Yes, I do.
And what about her husband? Do you know Dana?
I knew of Dana, yes.
Other than being your 7th grade teacher, were you, I guess, close friends or just?
Just acquaintances. Yes.
What about their children? Did you know
No,
Holly?
I did not.
Do you recall, what is your business?
Well, we're in a construction business in Parsons.
And that's Graves?
Graves and Graves Construction, yes, ma'am.
Is that a family business?
It is.
Grandfather, father, and now you?
They correct, yes.
Is it fair to say that because you're in the construction business that you are very familiar with most of the roads in and around the area?
Well, yes, and living there as well, yes.
Do you recall April the 13th, 2011, when Holly Bobo went missing?
Yes, I do.
When you heard that news, did you immediately know or hear that she was the daughter of Dana and Karen?
Yes, ma'am.
Over the next several days, or actually that day and the next, did you become aware that there were people searching for Holly?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And how did you, explain to the jury, please, how you became aware of that?
Well, obviously, in a small town and in a setting like we live in Decatur County, you're pretty well when something tragic like this happens, you're aware of it. And actually, we knew that people were out looking for Holly, and of course, everybody wanted to do their part because it's like one of us. So.
Did you have some property or a home where searchers actually came to your property or home?
I did.
Before you go any further, was that the day of or the day after?
I think it's the day after.
So that would be April the 14th, that Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened.
Well, I got home that afternoon sometime around 5:30 or so. That's typically what time I got home. And when I got home, I noticed there's some guys that work for us that live just adjacent to my house, probably a couple hundred yards or so. And there was a big Suburban of people where they'd been, everybody was kind of going, checking the area, different barns and all that. And they'd been out to some of our barns that lay, real close proximity to the house. Well, I knew, adjacent on back behind, there were some sheds that we had that you couldn't access by vehicle just because it was a wet time of year. In April or whatever time it was wet and you couldn't do it by vehicle. So I went in the barn and got my 4-wheeler out. And I said, well, I'll just, I'll check back here and some of our barns back in the back in case, something might, something might be back there or something that you can't see and access by vehicle.
Right. Now, you said you lived on Gibson Road.
Yes, ma'am.
And for those who aren't familiar with where Gibson Road is, can you give us some landmarks or some indication of where that might be
Well, we own property between Gibson Road and being the Graves family owns property between Gibson Road and Gooch Road. And then to the west of that, Bible Hill Road kind of connects those two. So it makes kind of a.
Hold on a second. There's a road named Gooch Road. The Gooch. I got to buy property on that just so I can say that. And I just want to say, yeah, man, I live over there on Gooch Road. Hey, man, you know where I'm over there on Gooch Road. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do what? I'm on Gooch.
Okay, how much property, how much land is encompassed in that U?
Well, it's somewhere around 1,000 acres or so.
All right, so you're on Gibson and Bible Hill will be the bottom of the U and Gooch would run parallel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these barns that you wanted to, did you just want to go look in there for yourself and make sure Holly wasn't in one of those barns that nobody had checked?
Yes, that was my thought because I knew, I said, they're out. And I said, by some chance, albeit how remote it might be, somebody might have stashed her away in something that, nobody knows anything about. So here I tend to traipse through our farm and, check these barns up here close, which they could see. And then I went back and checked one of the other barns, didn't see anything. And then there's a creek that goes along by some of the barns. I kind of looked, scanned down through there, just casually driving by, really not expecting to see anything or whatever. Went to our shed that kind of lays about halfway in between the two roads and checked it. Wasn't anything
Between the two roads, you mean
with
Gooch?
Gibson and Gooch. Yes, ma'am. And the whole time I'm kind of approaching, I'm getting closer to Gooch Road. I'm going away from Gibson and going towards Gooch Road.
At this point, are you off-road? Or
I'm off-road the whole time. I'm pretty well off-road the whole time. So if you get on Gooch Road, we've got two cattle barns that are right across one another. And it's got gates. And I was just going to go out and check those two barns and then get on Gooch Road and then go back up to Bible Hill Road and just go by a road back around to my house. So I check those, check the sheds that's down in the bottom. I go up to the top of the hill where there's two barns across one, check those. And everything was all clear. And so then I proceeded to get on Gooch Road and going back west towards Bible Hill Road. And I'm going down through there, and there's a little creek about, I'd say 100, 150 yards back east of Bible Hill Road, back down the hill from it. There's a little creek crossing there. And as I was going by, I looked and I saw something, just casually. I'm just kind of looking and I look and in the stream, I saw something that caught my eye. And I was like, what was that? Because it was something that didn't seem like it belonged. So I put my 4-wheeler in reverse and backed up and just stopped. Of course, that road's, it's narrow. I mean, it's almost about, the width for, if you had two trucks that made it to one of you have to get off the side of the road. I mean, if you got wide, you would never go. So I'm stopping here in the road, no traffic going through there because it's not really heavily used. And I look and I see something. And I'm like, what is that? Thinking to myself, not expecting to find anything, mind you, but just something looked out of place about it. And I was like, man, that looks like something new or newer or something that just gained your attention. So there's a little field, a small, 3 or 4 acre field just past that. So I went inside that field and stopped at the edge of the woods. And there was about 10 or 15, 25 feet so track of just scattered trees that you have to get from the field over to where this little creek or, it's a great big ditch really. And so I walked over there and I looked and it was just best I remember, it was just a square looking, polka dotted like a lunchbox or whatever. So I took a tree limb, the one that was hanging there, because it was about probably 8 or 9 feet deep where it was. And I took a limb, kind of raked it over to the side, and kind of pulled it up. And then I got it, and I was like, what in the world is this? And so I opened it up and looked, and it had a sandwich inside of it and something else. And I remember thinking, I said, man, that's awful strange. So I zipped it back up, and when I flipped it over, it had an embroidered H on it, the best I remember. And then at that,
Sir, did you take a bite of that sandwich?
okay.
Pass forward what was previously marked as Exhibit 30. And ask if you recognize this.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this what you found there?
Yes, ma'am.
And you opened it up.
I opened it up, and
Did you say it was in the creek?
it was, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was in the creek, and the way that creek flows is it made a little nook back to the left, and the way the flow of the water was, it carried it over and it kind of got hung up on the side. So anyway,
Let me back up. So
Okay.
you fished it out with a stick out of the creek.
Yep.
All right, so you're on
I'm on the,
ground.
that's right,
All right, so you opened it up there on the ground. You see the sandwich and lunch.
right.
Then you see the H.
I did, because when I picked it up, you couldn't see the H. That was kind of on the water side down, and I had to open it up from this side. And then when I opened it up and looked, I was like, I was like, wait a minute, now this has got uneaten food. Then when I turned it over, I saw the H, and at that time, I kind of something about this don't seem right. But anyway, I made a phone call because I couldn't remember Holly's first name, because like I said, I didn't know. I knew Miss Bobo and them, but I didn't know their daughter. And I made a phone call and said, what was the young lady's name? And whoever I talked to, the guy I talked to, he told me it was Holly. And I was like, well, I said, you need to get a hold of somebody. And we tried to get a hold of the sheriff and Henderson County Sheriff. I said, they come on out. I said, this may be nothing or it may be something. And I said, I've handled it in the whole 9 yards at that time. So
after you made that phone call, did people come to you there on the side off of the good trade?
Johnny Kramer. I ain't never heard no Jimmy's Tuna Shack sandwiches, man. You make that shit up. Where the fuck is Jimmy's Tuna Shack? we don't have, there is no place called the Jimmy's Tuna Shack in Chicago. Get out of here.
yes, ma'am.
All right, did you just put the lunchbox down, this lunchbox down on the ground there where you were?
Yeah, and I said it was close to the edge of the road. It was actually, I got it over close to the road, so I'd moved it some, probably, before I'd walked out of the woods, and I just sat down right there by the edge of the ditch.
So the jury understands you didn't try and put it back in the creek where you had
No,
found
ma'am.
it.
No, ma'am.
And did they come out there?
I did.
Were you present? Do you know whether they tried to photograph the area?
I believe they did try to photograph the area, but all the particulars I can't remember for sure.
I guess my question is, the photographs weren't taken with the lunchbox back in the creek.
That's correct.
They were
No,
taken-
the photographs were taken in it, and I made mention of that too. I said, now this is not exactly where I found it. I found it in the creek over here, 30 yards in the ditch.
I'm going to pass forward
Sure, Grendel.
photograph and ask, and it's dark, 'cause this was getting dark time.
Yeah.
Previous exhibit.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you recognize the area and what's portrayed in that photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
That's the lunchbox.
And is that where you put it, where you set it back down?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to put it on the overhead. Can you see the creek that you described?
No.
That's because it's too dark.
That's right.
Your Honor, can I have this marked as the next number?
Exhibit 66. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Here's the laser pointer.
Okay.
If you can show the jury where this creek is, I know you were,
So the roadside ditch is here, and the road is right here. This is just basically. Okay.
You can separate, is this an aerial photograph?
it's
It's
not,
just-
it's
okay.
taken from,
Yeah, just from the
Okay.
side of the road.
okay, so for purposes of describing, when you said the road is right here, are you talking, as we look at this exhibit, is it?
Yeah, it's just
at
like-
the bottom of the picture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The road be running like this, and the little road ditch sitting, between where the picture was taken and the
Right.
purse.
Gotcha.
And then the creek runs, perpendicular to the road.
All right, so if you're looking at this picture as the jury all is, just use your pointer to show us the
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah, the creek would be running this way. The road is running this way.
All right, so the creek will be running from the bottom to the top
That's right.
area.
Yes, ma'am. This way. Road's running this way.
Gotcha. Thank you. And until today, is that the last time that you've seen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I don't have anything.
Right, cross-examination.
Mr. Graves, I'm Jennifer Thompson. So you testified that you saw the lunchbox and you picked it up, you said.
Yes, ma'am.
But first you used a stick to scoop it out of the water?
That's right, because it's too deep for me just to reach down and grab.
And by too deep, you don't mean that the water was too deep, you mean this.
The bank.
The bank
bank,
of the
yes,
creek
ma'am.
was too deep. So when you scooped it out of the water, you picked up the lunchbox,
Mhm.
you opened it up,
I did.
and you looked to see what was inside of it.
Right.
Okay. Then after that, you set it back down on the bank.
That's right. Well, I walked back out to the edge of the road. Yes.
And you have a clear memory of that today, is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Okay. And if I told you that this occurred on April the 14th at 7:30 p.m., would that sound right to you?
Yes, ma'am.
It was getting dark. I mean, you can tell by the pictures that it's
Right.
getting dark or dark.
Okay.
And you called did you call the TBI and they came right away?
Actually, I think I called a friend and called one of the sheriff departments. I can't remember if it was Decatur County or Henderson County, one of the sheriff departments. But yes, they did come out.
And then you spoke at that time to a special agent, Terry Dykus, who was with the TBI. Isn't that right?
That sounds accurate, yes.
He interviewed you on the scene right there, didn't he?
Correct.
And he was taking notes as he spoke to you, wasn't he?
I assume.
And you were being cooperative with him.
Yes.
Okay. So when you talked to him, you specifically told him that you had looked back and to the left as you were
That's
driving, and saw something in the creek. It just caught your eye.
Yes.
And then you told him you pulled up closer and you used a post to dip it out of the creek.
Yeah.
And then you specifically told him you never touched the lunchbox.
No.
You told him at the time.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. First of all, ask him the question instead of just reading the statement. I let it go on, but that's
She
improper.
can ask if he made that statement. She cannot say, you never told him. Ask him if he made the statement, then you can use the statement if you feel appropriate for impeachment purposes.
Okay. So you never told, you told him you did not touch the lunchbox, didn't you?
No, ma'am.
So if he's put it in his report that you said you did not touch the lunchbox, the agent is wrong?
I don't have any.
All right. So what do you think the impact is on the jury when the judge continually appears to be teaching Jennifer Thompson how to try a case in front of them? It's like, I mean, what do you think the jury's taking from that shit? It's so prejudicial. It's so prejudicial. They're thinking that this woman doesn't know what she's doing. The judge keeps telling her how to do things. It's
Recollection of that, because I did specifically touch the lunchbox. There was no ifs, ands, or nowhere about that.
Okay. And that's how you remember it today.
Yes.
Your son told people he had Holly Bobo locked up.
Wait,
I'm not using it for the truth, Your Honor. This is not
If your son told people,
your son told people?
your
if
son.
your son said anything, Your Honor, we got John Graves here. Question, anything that John Graves told somebody?
Okay, if you want to call the son, you can call the son.
Your Honor, I'm not using it to prove the truth. It's a hearsay statement, but it meets an exception in that it's something that his son said at the time. And he's very aware of it, Your Honor, because he went to
Take the
school.
jury out.
oh my God.
From both sides.
Okay. So
That's true, Pearl, but what should be happening is what's happening right here. You get like, I know it's a pain in the ass to pull the jury out, but you can't do that shit in front of a jury. Can't do it. And oddly enough, and I trust Dana implicitly in terms of his, his analysis of Thompson is that she's, for the most part, a pretty damn good trial lawyer. Again, I think that this adds credence to her testimony in the post-conviction hearing, where she said she just wasn't ready. Like she was like not there mentally. Anybody who's tried tons of cases knows how to impeach a witness. There's no part of me that believes that Jennifer Thompson, at this point in her career, back in 2017, did not know how to properly impeach a witness or didn't know what the exceptions to hearsay rules were. I mean, she couldn't even think of the exception right there. And it was when she got kind of like log jammed in her brain that the judge asked the jury to be removed. And now he's going to fucking read her the riot act again, which is only going to make it worse for Thompson's psyche. You can see she's right about this thing with Nichols and the judge. Nichols pukes something out. The judge sucks it up immediately and like a puppet literally repeats what Nichols just said. I mean, they are certainly, the two of them are in lockstep, the judge and Nichols, who was the prosecutor. So it's like you can see this thing building to where I think it's going to ultimately end up. I mean, trying a case like this by yourself for like, there's some bald dude sitting at the table with her. I haven't seen this guy do dick. I see this one other guy made a couple of arguments, some older, shorter lawyer on behalf of Zach, but I haven't seen anyone other than Jennifer handle a witness. And I'm just here to tell you, you can see the state's got 3 lawyers that I've seen thus far handling shit. And, you cannot, as a trial attorney, go into a case of this magnitude with this many witnesses and expect to be able to competently handle all of those witnesses' examinations alone. You just can't do it. Not effectively. I don't give a fuck how good of a lawyer you are. Because it's like every other part of it is, we've seen Thompson have to run over to whoever her, I don't know if it's her paralegal or who she is, but she's got somebody over there when she is trying to find a report. When something comes up during an examination, and she's going to go try to impeach somebody, and then she runs over there and she's trying to see, or she's trying to see if she has a document. Trying to do it reminds me of, I can't remember what the hell her name was. She bugged the shit out of people. It was in she was the wife's, the shooter case that we covered, both of them. My brain just doesn't. You guys know who I'm talking about. It was the kid, the one of the warped shooter cases where they tried both the parents, and it was she was the attorney for the mom. Was it Smith? Are you just giving me the most common name in America? No, you got it'll pop in my head. It was but at any rate, the point is that attorney, Crumbly, thank you. Who wins a fucking prize right there? Factual Lie, followed very closely by Serenity, followed very, very closely by History and Homicide, and then by Harry's Potter. Shannon Smith, thank you, DB. Thank you. So he was not just giving me the most generic name in America. Yes, Shannon. So she tried that case on her own. And she just looked like she was completely discombobulated. Never, DB. And it was like, I felt terrible for her because I'm just sitting there watching this woman struggle, because you'd see she had 4 huge Bankers boxes worth of shit. And I'm like, what? I don't know how she's doing it. And, I thought under those circumstances that she did a pretty fair job, and it's like Thompson's in the same situation here, wherein she's got no help. And now we know, because of the post-conviction hearing, that she was in no mental state. Like her mental state was nowhere near where you need to be. And because look, you never walk into a trial feeling fully prepared, because there's just no way to be fully prepared. There's not enough days in the week, not enough weeks in the year in order to know every single thing about a case. You can know it forwards and backwards, and there's still going to be something that pops up that surprises you. It's just, it's a lot, Yeah, this is gonna, I can tell we're on the, she came out with some pretty tame witnesses, albeit, they weren't the types of witnesses that you're starting to concern yourself with. But as soon as Rebecca got up there, we had the first witness where you're like, all right, they're starting to put on some shit that, is trying to bolster their theory here. And, it's not a good look for Zach, the shit that this woman's saying. So this is where her job starts. And you can see that she's on that downhill slide. And I have a feeling that this little thing that we're about to watch here isn't going to help matters at all.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Well, what I'm trying to show is that people and different.
No problem with the witness being present while we're discussing this.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
But I was trying to show that
He'll follow the court's rulings, whatever I instruct.
different people who, and the reason I would want to get it in through him and not the son was only in second grade at the time he said it. So he may or may not have been a competent witness to testify.
Then that's all the more reason it probably shouldn't come in.
But I'm just trying to show that there were people in the community saying things that were not true. But there was
Ostensibly, what did the son say?
he said that his uncle had Holly Bobo locked up at home, and they were trying to convince him to let her
And
loose.
what exception to hearsay is this?
I'm just trying to show what effect it had on him, not that it was true. The family didn't have Holly Bobo locked up. It was not a true statement.
It lacks any indicia of reliability. We're not going there. Bring the jury in.
This wasn't offering it for the truth of the matter asserted.
Before we do that, can I do an offer of proof?
All right, jury back out.
Jesus. If you're offering it for effect on the listener, you're not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted.
All right.
You're offering it to show
I'll
what
answer
effect
questions.
it had
The jury
on
can
this
remain
guy.
okay?
Okay.
Uncle.
At some point, were you called on by an investigator in this case regarding some statements that your son had made while playing?
To be honest with you, I can't recall.
Do you recall that in December of 2011, Terry Dykes again came to meet with you regarding your son Jeb?
Terry could have come by. I mean, it's possible.
Do you recall that there was a day when the kids were out of school due to weather, and they had your son had found a glove somewhere, and they were going around trying to decide who took Holly Bobo?
So I don't understand. The kids found a glove and the kids were going around? I mean, I just don't understand the question.
Yes, the kids found a glove while they were out of school because of weather, and they were playing a little game where they were trying to decide who took Holly Bobo. You remember that, don't you?
Seemed like I do remember something about a glove at our office, and that yes,
A glove at your office, not.
not anywhere close to the side. I mean, it's a worker's glove that was laying on the ground, like we have nails and hammers. And, right.
They were playing a game. Yes,
Let her ask the question.
Okay.
they were playing a
Darren, giving Samantha the love. I didn't see that, Samantha. I went right to it was the last name I was looking for. But yeah, Jennifer Crumbly was definitely her first name.
game, weren't they?
Well done, Samantha.
And at some point, they were pretending like they were trying to find out who took Holly Bobo, weren't they?
Same, yes.
And at some point, your son just made a little plain statement about the fact that his uncle had Holly Bobo locked up.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to just interject. Does he know? Was he present when this statement was made?
All right. Were you present when any such statement was made?
No.
Okay.
But at some point, it all came to your attention, and you talked to your son about it, didn't you?
Really, to be honest with you, I can't recall.
So something as big as everybody or agents coming to your house to talk to you about this isn't, you have no memory of this at this point?
No.
Okay, no further questions.
All right. How old was your son approximately at the time that this so-called statement that you didn't hear was made?
He's 12 years old now. So
True story, Harry.
As of June, so whatever, in every year, that's 5.
5 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm even more certain that this is absolutely inappropriate. There's no indicia of reliability. A 5-year-old to start with is presumed not competent to testify unless the court qualifies. And some statement made during a childhood game is miles away from relevance as far as this case. So I'm even more certain that this is not appropriate.
The reason I was wanting to offer it, Your Honor, is not because I think it's reliable or I was trying to show that this happened. What I was trying to show was that the community was very, very sensitive at the time. So anytime anybody said anything about Holly Bobo or somebody possibly having Holly Bobo, everybody overreacted.
A 5-year-old game has no place. Okay?
Right, but people were overreacting in the community at the time. If he doesn't remember it, then
We've
it's
already
not
had
relevant.
legions of testimony concerning the extent of involvement in the community, and that is precisely the reasons that I granted change of venue, is the emotional uproar.
Hey, Judge Asshole, if the 5-year-old uttered something, no matter how ridiculous it was, about Holly Bobo being somewhere and that somebody had her captive, and somebody did something, like went and checked that dude's house, that's effect on the listener. I don't know what this guy's talking about. I honestly don't know what he's talking about. Everybody's got no one to reliable. She's not offering for the truth. Pinhead.
State in Decatur County for a period. The last witness said he searched for 18 months. That's how deep the involvement is. So whether a 5-year-old was saying something in a game is totally irrelevant. Let's bring our jury back in.
Right. It's called effect on the listener. Like, you're not offering it for the matter, the truth of the matter asserted, meaning that the thing that is said, that you're not trying to assert that that's the truth. What you're doing is you're saying, okay, the thing that was said had this effect on the person that heard it. This is about.
I have no further
All right,
questions.
let me say my mic is off to make sure. I'm loud anyway, I know that. And I don't want to take a chance on the jury hearing something they shouldn't. So my mic is off and it won't be on unless someone feels it needs to be. But I think I told you folks before, my first grade teacher told me that my voice carried, and she wasn't being nice when she told me that. Okay? All right. No further questions over here. Anything else over here?
Oh, God. This guy's carrying around stories about his first grade teacher, for real. Wow. Oh, God.
Ms. Thompson asked you a moment ago about the road.
What a
and the fact that you
blowhard.
were Driving down Beach Road and looking back to your left or to your right.
Left, yes.
And you described for the jury, this is a pretty narrow road.
Correct, yes.
Let me pass forward a photograph and ask if you can identify that, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
It's the intersection of Gooch Road and Horny Head Creek Road.
That Gooch Road, the road that runs parallel with your road.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, ask this to be marked as the next
All right,
exhibit.
B67. That's Gooch and what?
Horny Head Creek Road.
One more time.
Horny Head Creek Road?
Horny Head.
Yes.
Might have been the first time I've heard the name of that road.
And then permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm going to hand you the laser pointer again. Is that narrow winding road indicative of what you were driving down in your four-wheeler?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that intersection show the area, or is the area where you actually found the lunchbox out of?
Well, it's not in view.
Right.
Yes.
Can you show the jury which way it would be where this creek is?
Well, this is Horny Creek be back.
So in other words, the road you're looking at, it winds on around, and it would be,
That's right. It'd be, this is the intersection of Gooch Road and Horny Head. So
Right.
it'd be back down Gooch Road.
okay, use your pointer to show the direction of travel. Were you coming towards the intersection? Or were you-
Yes, I'd be coming towards the intersection.
So the area where you found it was before you got to this point?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything further.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Your dad is standing?
Yes, sir.
And you? You're free to go. Please don't discuss your testimony. You can either come back to the courtroom or you're free to go as you wish. Call your next.
Gerald Stephens.
Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat, state your name and spell first and last for the court reporter.
My name is Gerald Stephens, GeraldStephens.
Thank you. Keep proceed. You say B or PH?
PH, sir.
All right, thank you.
Would you tell the jury, I guess, a little bit about yourself, such as where you live and what you do for a living?
I live in an adjacent county, Henderson County, outside of Natchez Trace Park. Me and my father there run a farming operation. We row crop as well as run quite a few cattle.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to pass the pictures. And as a result of, you said you run cattle and have quite a bit of property, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And does your property, does your work include an area that has parsons? Gardening, Holiday, that area?
Yes, ma'am. We farm in 3 counties: Henderson County, Benton County, as well as Decatur County. So we have property that we either own or rent in various locations. Most of our cattle are run in Decatur County, in the northern part of the county, in what I call the Yellow Springs area. So
I was going to ask you that. Yellow Springs is actually a road, is that correct?
yes, ma'am. Yellow Springs is known as a church and a community there with an adjacent road that runs through there by that church.
And is it actually sort of run alongside 40?
Not right alongside 40. It runs into another road that does, but it's not very far from I-40. It's on the south side of I-40.
Because you have business dealings in 3 different counties, do you know a family by the name of the Bobos?
Yes, ma'am. I have came to know that family.
Before April 13th, 2011, did you know them?
No, ma'am.
Did you nevertheless become aware that their daughter Holly had been reported as missing?
Yes, ma'am. I did become aware of that through a phone call from my sister, who also lives in Decatur County. She called that morning and notified me and my family.
And when you heard that she had become missing, did you also become aware that there were searches going on all around?
Not at that very moment. I was not aware. I
didn't mean at that moment. I meant after, like in the coming days.
Yes, ma'am. We on one of the farms we were working, we saw helicopters, and other people were traveling up and down the road, stopping and actually checking even some of our home property there in Henderson County. Yes, ma'am.
And was that fine with you that they looked at your property?
Absolutely. We not only supported that, but we then began looking ourselves.
And when you say they were checking your property, do you mean like sheds and barns and structures that were from different?
Yes, ma'am. They came and checked barns that we have that are open, that are not being used, as well as our main shop, our main area there where my parents live. Yes, ma'am.
At some point, did you, or on a particular day, did you decide that you yourself would search?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you describe for the jury why you picked that particular day and how that came about?
Well, we were busy in the field spraying on Wednesday and Thursday.
Of the week it happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Thursday night it rained, so we were not able to go back and spray. I actually had 2 guys spraying in the Yellow Springs area. So everybody was back at the shop then, and we were doing cattle work and shop work Friday because of the rain. And I made a venture myself to head out and not necessarily start looking, just start kind of observing, just trying to put together in my mind, if me and my guys could be of any help.
And you had this day available because you'd basically been rained out.
That's correct. That was on Friday.
So this is the Friday after she went missing on Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am.
So what area did you decide to look for your drive?
Well, I drove toward Parsons, and that's when I identified a road to my left as I was traveling toward Bible Hill and Parsons as Gooch Road with a tremendous amount of law enforcement lights and activity. Seems that the road was either blocked or almost blocked off. I then proceeded to Parsons and circled around to try to orient where the Bobo location was. I'd never been to their house, and other than as a small child, had never even been by that house. And at the driveway of their house, there were law enforcement there. Someone who I knew personally was coming out of the driveway, and so immediately I stopped, and me and that person had a conversation.
Right. I'm not asking, in fact, you can't tell the jury what the other individual said, but did you inquire about or determine that you were going to go in a particular area to look?
Yes, ma'am. And that person identified what had been found to me on Gooch Road. And once I obtained that information, momentarily I left, because in my mind, because I'm real familiar with the north part of the county, because our cattle being there, me or my guys are in the north part every day. And in my mind, if something was found on Gooch Road, somebody was going north, and in my mind, going toward the interstate, because that would be a back road to get to the north part of the county, and in my mind, to the interstate.
And so with that information, understanding about the roads, you set off towards Gooch Road?
I did not travel on Gooch Road because of the law enforcement. I bypassed Gooch Road, picked up the road just north of there, and started traveling maybe 15 miles an hour, maybe 20, really slow, just strictly trying to observe. Because in the news media, I guess my wife had made me
You can't say what you heard on the news.
Okay.
Okay. Were you looking for a particular color? Were you looking for a particular thing?
Yes, ma'am. In my mind, I was looking for anything that looked really odd or might be of the color pink.
Okay. So you didn't get out of your car, you just drove.
I drove relatively slow on as many as 5 or 6 different roads.
Right. So at any point during your search, was this in the morning
Um,
or afternoon?
It would have been close to lunch. It would have been somewhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock when I started that.
At any point, did you see anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain that to the jury, please?
I was traveling just south of Yellow Springs Church in the Yellow Springs community. I just came off of Fred Jr. Inman Road, traveling then what would be north, and going really slow there. Something appeared to be of the color pink on the right side of the road. So I immediately stopped, and it was a garment that was pink in color.
All right, what garment was it?
It was a pair of pink panties.
Okay. So you saw something pink, you stopped your car and got out of your car at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do when you walked over and saw what it was?
I immediately called the sheriff's office in Decatur County, and they either put me through or gave me another number to call the headquarters, which was at that time at the fairgrounds, the headquarters for the, I guess, the coordination for the search for this girl. And the detective that they put me on the phone with was Detective Ricky Inman. He asked.
Again, well, if he asked you a question such as where you were and that kind of thing, you have to answer out loud.
Yes, he did ask me where I was, and he asked me what I had.
All right, and I'm assuming you responded.
I responded, but I did not disclose the item. Over a cell phone, I didn't think that'd be proper.
All right, so did somebody come out there from law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am. Ricky Inman, as well as another deputy, I do not know who that was, did come out upon seeing what that was and the location. He immediately made a phone call.
Right, I'm gonna stop you there. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna stop you there and pass forward 2 photographs and ask if you to look at those, please, and when you're finished, tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize what's in both of those photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
What's in the first one?
In the first photograph is the pair of pink panties.
Your Honor, ask that be marked as the next numbered exhibit.
68.
And what's in the next one?
The next one is the location of which that garment was located when I first saw it and found it.
All right, is it actually shown in this picture, or does this picture just give you landmarks so that you know approximately where in the road it was?
This picture actually is the landmark of where it was. The actual location is not contained in this picture.
Your Honor, ask that the next, mark as the next number.
All right, the 68.
69.
Whoops, beg your pardon. Can't read it.
We can put the first one.
Okay.
The big panties.
Publish. Go ahead and kill our lights, please.
All right. What is the jury looking at?
How slow they're killing the lights. Where we can see better. Okay.
What is the jury looking at?
The jury is looking at the Blacktop Road adjacent to the grass area on what would be the right side of the road, of which I saw pink panties.
All right, and when you saw them, were they actually on the blacktop, or were they in the grassy area?
They were just barely into the grassy area, but not on the blacktop.
Okay, did you touch them?
No, ma'am, I did not touch them.
So you just called law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can I see the next picture, please?
Be 69.
69. And what road is this, please?
This is Yellow Springs Road.
All right, and I believe a few moments ago, I asked you the question about whether or not the area that you found the panties was actually displayed in the photograph, and you said it was not, correct?
That's correct.
Can you show the jury using the laser pointer where they were, or what direction they were?
Can I also say I was proceeding from the south and heading this direction, which is north, and just a small amount north of this puddle. This area here is obviously for the mail carrier. Just after you proceed north, away from the mail carrier roof, there is where they were located. Just a few more feet north of that puddle. There.
Okay, let me keep asking you some questions, and we can raise the lights again, please.
Okay, lights up.
Did you remain there on the scene until law enforcement got there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you said that first the sheriff's department came and then they called other law enforcement, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what agency responded?
After the sheriff's detective was there, he told me that he had called TBI.
Okay, and did TBI come?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember the agent that appeared?
The agent that appeared was Agent Brent Booth with the TBI.
Okay, and once Brent Booth got there, did you ever leave that spot, or did you walk up and down the road? What'd you do?
After Brent Booth was there, he made a phone call for I assume other agents, and then while waiting, me and Brent discussed, I guess, what to do or the time frame. Obviously, he was not asking me what to do. I was asking him, and I suggested to him that I would take a walk up the road, just looking around as long as he was there. And he said he was staying there until someone else got there.
All right, and do you remember a time, I think last June, maybe, when you were kind enough to meet me and look at some photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me pass forward one, ask if you recognize this particular photograph. All
Yes, ma'am.
right, and what?
I know I'm muted. I'm assuming what K. Riggs says here is true, that upon DNA testing, Holly Bobo was excluded to tell me that they were not Holly Bobo's underwear. So why this is being introduced is insane. I have no idea why this is being introduced. I have no idea. So Thompson has to object. If they have battled this out prior to, say, in pretrial hearings, motions in limine and the such, she has to, at trial, object again in order to preserve the issue. This is insane. It's like what they did at the Songbird Road case that I covered in our podcast. At trial there, they had gone out to this landfill and they found a shower curtain, because the victim in that case was found in the shower, and they found, it looks like she's passing gas right there. She's letting one slip out, an SBD, just letting it slide out right there. She's feeling pretty happy about it. But at any rate, and they found 2 knives, rusty old knives. These things were introduced to trial. Not only were they introduced to trial, they were then put in a box and brought back to the jury during deliberations. And these things the shower curtain wasn't missing. The knives had nothing to do with the homicide. Nothing. They found no DNA, nothing. They had nothing. And they sent it all back with the jury. That's what this is. This is the same shit. She's never has a pleasant face. We could try to find a time when she turns around in order for her to have a pleasant look on her face, and it never happens. So that's it. Yeah, into Limey, yeah, the word panties is dead in this country. I think it is. The only time I've ever liked it and thought that it was hilarious was in the scene. What's the Coen Brothers movie? Raising Arizona. When Nick Cage had just robbed the convenience store, or the store with the diapers, and he's trying to steal this guy, or he's getting into this guy's car, and the guy says, "Boy, you got a panty on your head." He had he was wearing women's stockings on there. So that there was pretty hilarious, but that's where it ends for me.
What is that a picture of?
This is a picture of the exact location of where the pink panties were. It's a picture taken from the south, looking back toward the north, of which I would have walked looking alongside the road.
Right. And there's some markings on it. I'm not going to ask you what they are yet, but who placed the handwritten marks there on the picture?
I myself, Gerald Stephens, placed those markings on the picture.
Right. I'm going to ask that.
Pardon, and this honorable court. You may be seated.
Amen. Okay, we're about 5 minutes still. They're in the process of bringing the jury down. Okay, we're
on the picture.
I'm gonna ask that you.
What happened there?
You may be seated.
Amen.
What happened there?
Okay, we're about 5 minutes still. They're in the process of bringing the jury down. Are we dead?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the area you're talking about?
That is the area, and it's just around the curve here, and that's the area that I circled, and these are my initials.
All right, and you said you located what when you got that far?
Off in the grass, approximately 4 to 5 feet from the blacktop road, appeared to be a paper wadded up.
And what did you do with the paper wad?
I took out my knife and picked it up so that I didn't touch it, having no idea if it was of any importance, and I took it back to where Agent Booth was located in the roadway at this area. He was still here holding on to this area. So
that piece of paper that's now displayed in the roadway, is that the piece of paper? Is that where you put it down? Or whether?
When the photograph was taken, that may be after Agent Booth opened it up.
Right.
I was in this area when Agent Booth opened up the paper. I did not open the paper up.
Okay, let me pass forward another photograph and ask if you recognize.
Yes, ma'am. That's the paper that when Agent Booth unfolded it. That's exactly what I saw on the paper.
And there appears to be a knife in the photograph as well. Whose knife is that?
It's not my knife, ma'am.
That's not the knife you carried back.
No, ma'am. That is not my knife.
Right. But you were there when he unfolded it.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask that be marked as the next numbered exhibit.
71.
And then we can put that on the overhead, please. And is that the piece of paper that was unfolded in your presence?
Yes, ma'am, and it is. And the first and most memorable thing that I saw was the name and address of the person, Holly Bobo, on the top left corner of the paper.
I want to pass you an item of evidence. Ask you to take out the piece of paper in there and don't display it to the jury yet, but just look at it. And do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
Appears to be the paper of which was unfolded.
Is it titled the same? Instructor 1? Is it this?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, ask that be marked as the next numbered exhibit.
Exhibit 72. He's pretty publishing.
I'm going to publish this.
Okay.
And you indicated that when you found it, it was wadded up. And having had this piece of paper in your hand a few minutes ago, does it appear to you to have been wadded up?
Yes, ma'am. The paper that we're looking at there that I just took a look at appears to have been wadded up. And when I picked up the wadded paper, there was no way to identify anything about it related to a person or where it came from at all.
I'm going to ask that the photograph of the road, the mailbox, be put back on the overhead. I don't remember which exhibit. 69, we put that. I'm using my pointer to point at the two mailboxes that are there. And do you know who lives here?
In that drive, I've met the people numerous occasions, but I do not know the name of the people in that particular drive.
Do you know who lives back here?
Are you pointing to the next drive down the road?
I
am. Yes, ma'am. I did not know at the time, but it became known to me that was
You can say he knows.
person who lived in that mobile home was Shane Austin.
Wow.
Now, is it fair to say that after discovering it, and you can
Wow.
now so it doesn't bother people on the raised lights.
Right.
In the weeks and months that followed your discovery of that piece of paper with Holly's name on it, did you continue to be interested and try to assist in the investigation into the location of Holly?
Yes, ma'am. Not only myself, but my family, as well as the people who worked with us on our farming operation did.
And you indicated earlier that you didn't know the Bobos before, but came to know them during the course of the investigation. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
You talked to law enforcement when they wanted to talk to you?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Gave them information, whether it turned out useful or not, if you thought they needed to know it?
If I saw anything that appeared to be odd of any nature in the coming weeks and months, yes, ma'am, I made a phone call to law enforcement.
I don't have anything else, Your Honor. Thank you.
Wow. So there's your answer. And allowing that to happen. So Shane Austin is obviously one of the four. And she ends it with that this particular set of underwear was found steps away. Oh man, that is just some fucking shady shit. It's dirty pool. It's lies. They're literally putting lies out. Shame on these people. Shame on them.
No prosecution.
All right. Step down. You're free to go. Please don't discuss the testimony.
All right. All right, we're calling it for the day. Got a solid 3 hours in today. Boy, that just makes me sick. It's just sick. I mean, what do you think the jury's taking away from that? I mean, this is not how it's supposed to work, y'all. This is just disgusting. It's just disgusting. It's just the worst. And it's going to get worse. We're only scratching the surface. All right, mods, I adore you so very much. Tracy, Mandy, you guys are the bee's knees. Hopefully, I was kind of some Spencer docs dropped tonight. If I can get the stuff that I need to get packed up so that I'm ready to hit the road early tomorrow. So I'm trying to beat this storm, whatever it may be. I might try to go live. There was just a few motions. I'm not going to deal with the media interveners because that's not getting granted. I know that DB had sent me a couple of orders, and then I think Tracy sent me the same orders. And there was a motion that was filed by the defense. I did see the most recent order, which affects the hearing on the 23rd, which we are desperately trying to make it down for, where the witness that they're seeking to put on, if you watched last night's live, which is their expert on grooming, who's coming from my neck of the woods. I think she lives in Frankfort, Illinois, which is a little bit south of us, but she is not being allowed to testify via Zoom. So I don't know how that's going to handle. I don't know what that's going to mean. I don't know if she's not testifying, then there's no point in the hearing on the 23rd, which is fine. I'll go out in the ice storm and try to do some man on the street shit. So we'll figure it out. But just keep your eye out. Remember to hit that bell, that little bell on the YouTube. If you hit that little bell, you'll see it pulls down. It's your notifications, and then you can select there how often, what types of notifications you want to get. When we put a premiere out there, which is rare, when we go live, you put all notifications, you'll always get notified, because sometimes I'm bad. I didn't get anything on the community page today. So, but let me, I did get some love Sarah Ritchie, you are just an absolute delight. We're so thankful for your incredible generosity. Thank you a million times over. DSN 385, thank you so much for your continued generosity. You're an always giver. I see you. I see you. I feel you. We got Funkarella 5, Real Beer Bauer, and you guys get a big giant family hug. Welcome to the family. Thank you for becoming members. We love our new members. I also got a couple of Venmos, I think, that I want to shout out before we dip. Let's see. We got Freer and Spencer from L. McCallie Girl. It was hard for me to read here. Thanks, McCallie Girl. We love you over here. Thank you so much. A very generous $40 Venmo. We appreciate that. Our guardian angel Kim dropped another 25 on us like daily. It's amazing. It's amazing. So thank you so much. And then I did get some Zells. We just introduced the Zells to the Grift game, and I wanted to shout those out because I forgot to do that last night. It's a shame they're probably not in here. They were probably just Spencer Live folks, but let me shoot these out real quick to give the love. All right, we got and on here, I'm definitely never going to get your screen name, so I'm just going to give out the first names. But Sherry, thank you for your generous $12 Zelle. Lisa, thank you for your $40 Zelle. And Priscilla, thank you so much. I know you were desperately trying to figure out if we got that, Priscilla. We did. If you're here or if you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much for that. We appreciate all of you. And I did get a cash app. Tracy made sure to remind me. Jamie, I know that's not your screen name, but I can't remember what your screen name is. For bail for the Spencer trial. I got you all's backs. Solid $50 cash app. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you guys and your generosity so much. And we really do use the funds. I just rented a car today. Going to be driving down there, and we're going to be down there for I don't know how long, but we got to make sure the house is taken care of back here too, which boarding dogs, all kinds of stuff is going on. So we are eternally grateful to y'all for your generosity always. And Melissa says, have a safe trip. It might be treacherous. It sounds like it. We're trying to beat the storm. So that's the key here. So I'm hoping I can talk Allie into doing a on the road live. If I can find anywhere that has decent enough service to get an actual live stream out while we're driving down there tomorrow. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm sure it'll be funny. It'll be me and Allie in the car, which is hilarious. It's fun. It's fun. I'll be on my best behavior because usually she's telling me not to look at my phone, which is of course correct. And I'm yelling at her, just leave me alone. I've been on the road for 6 hours. I'm bored, all that shit. So, all right, you guys are amazing. We love you all so much. Again, thank you for always joining in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're a replay crew, drop a comment in there. It helps us. It gets it out to the world. If you really love us, become a member. We love our fam. All right, you guys, we love you so very much because without you, I'd just be an old man screaming into the ether.